Así muy nada cruz de Saudí. Welcome in, everyone. It is April 20th, 2026. Man, I can't even imagine what 420 was like in 2020. Well, it was the pandemic, so it was probably terrible. People were, yeah. So yeah, welcome in, everyone. My name is Angelina Tucci. We have some interesting news to cover today, along with just some fun drama type things. So we have a lot to cover. Thank you for joining me. Be sure to hit like on the video. It helps a lot. And be sure to subscribe if you are not already subscribed. My thing says 64 subscribers, but I am actually at 69, I think. Maybe 68. When we get to 69, that'll be amazing. Hold on. 68 subscribers. Okay, well, we could do this 4 times. I'm up front like Rooney. Man can't say that I didn't done told him. Man can't say that I didn't done front like Rooney. Man can't say that I didn't done told him. Man can't say that I much front like Rooney. Man can't say that I didn't done told him. Sorry. Big boomer right now. But it's okay. We're having fun. Let me know how you're doing in chat. What are your plans for this fantastically beautiful Southern California day? What are we at? 67. One more. And there we go. Hell yeah. Thank you. We up to 68 subscribers. All right. Let's get into the real news now. How's the Rally House? Thank you, Dens 1000, as always, for having the best electronic house music, but specifically Rally House for being one of the pioneers in the Rally House genre. I will forever love that genre. Okay. Oh yeah. We don't need to watch Claudia. Okay, here we go.
From NBC News, let's just hit it. D4VD was, I mean, D4. Oh, look, they didn't even get it right. His name is supposed to be D4VD. They wrote David, but D4VID. Nobody knows how to get his freaking name right, and I guess we never will have to because he's gonna go to jail. Hopefully.
Angeles officials have just announced that the singer David is facing first-degree murder charges in connection to the death of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose remains were found in the trunk of David's car last year. Take a listen.
I'm announcing the charges against David Anthony Burke, the musician known as David, spelled D4VD, in connection with the brutal and horrific murder of Celeste, a 14-year-old at that time. These charges include the most serious charges that a DA's office can bring. That is first-degree murder with special circumstances. The special circumstances being lying in wait, committing this crime for financial gain, or murdering a witness in an investigation. These special circumstances carry with it, along with the first-degree murder charge, a maximum sentence of life without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. The determination on whether or not...
Very serious charges. They are coming out of the press conference in Los Angeles. Joining us now, we have Brittany Hope, who is from NBC Los Angeles and has been following this case closely.
Hey, Stardust City Hag, how you doing? Hope you are well. What are your thoughts on the Celeste Rivas and David Burke case?
She joins us now along with Misty Maris, who is our NBC News legal analyst. Brittany, I want to start with you. I want to get into the nature of the specific charges, but I think a lot of people who have been following this case have also been wondering why it took so long to bring these charges, given that it was just described in that press conference as a brutal and horrific crime.
So, Morgan, as you said, we have been on this case since last year, and our law enforcement sources have told us that for a long time, David was...
Stardust City Heck, finally some justice for this poor child. Yeah, 100%. This poor child and her poor family, honestly.
Seen as a suspect in this case for months now, but because of how fragile this investigation is and because they wanted to make sure that their T's were crossed, their I's were dotted, they were very, very careful before making that formal arrest. And that happened just at the end of last week when he was formally arrested by LA police in the Hollywood Hills, bringing us to today. Let's go over those three charges. So this is brand new. We just learned within the past few minutes the most serious charge, first-degree murder, with a special allegation that singer David was lying in wait. District Attorney Nathan Hochman just said that prosecutors were alleging that this 14-year-old girl had gone to the singer's home and she had never been seen since. There's also other charges involving sexual assault and dismembering of a body. This is just step one. After this, the singer and TikToker will then go to court, and that's when he'll be presented with these new charges.
Brittany, thank you. I want to go to Misty now. So, Misty, David was actually the target of this grand jury investigation in February, but he wasn't named as a suspect until just last week. Yep. Now we're seeing these charges. What do you make of the circumstances that the DA just laid out?
So this was really an unusual way that this case really came to be, because we're talking about a 7-month investigation since last September. A lot of hurdles here when we know that there was serious decomposition of the body that was found. The medical examiner's report has been under seal. Perhaps that will change now that these charges have been formally brought. But what we saw was an arrest on Thursday without a grand jury indictment, without a criminal complaint. And now Nathan Hochman announcing what the basis for those charges are, and something that's very significant here. We did not know what the nature of the charges would be, if they would even be murder charges. We knew he was arrested on suspicion. But now it's first-degree murder with special circumstances. Those are the most serious charges that somebody could face in the state of California.
Can you drill down on that? Because I think that's interesting to a lot of people, these special circumstances, because he mentions lying in wait, he mentions financial gain, and then he mentions dismemberment. Explain that and how that affects potential sentencing.
So when you have a first-degree murder charge, it's an intentional murder, but it can be even more severe when there's an enumerated special circumstance. Those are all laid out in the statute in California. So now we're learning some disturbing details, because this is the basis for the special circumstance charges: lying in wait, financial gain. However, we don't necessarily know what the facts behind that are, because we don't have all of the information about what will ultimately be presented to a jury when this case goes to trial. But this is the first insight we've had into exactly what the nature of the charges are. So this means the prosecutors believe there was an intentional murder that was committed with the lying in wait, financial gain, and the last one, which I think is very interesting, a witness to a crime, actually killing a witness to a crime. So that's really significant. There's going to be a lot more to this narrative. Remember what happened during the course of the investigation. It's taken a long time. There was a search warrant that was executed on his home. There were multiple individuals who were in his circle who actually testified before the grand jury, which was acting as an investigative body for months now.
And Missy, at the heart of this, a 14-year-old girl, her family that is grieving. I want to go back out to Brittany, who's standing by live in Los Angeles. Brittany, we understand Celeste Hernandez's family is expected to comment and deliver some remarks today. What have they said about the arrest so far of David?
This is going to be the first time that we have seen the family, that we have formally heard from the family since that arrest late last week. And the family said, they told us that they're at that press conference with the district attorney in LA County, with LAPD. They said that they are going to be in the courtroom today when that arraignment happens. Now, before that, the family had told us through our months of investigating this, they had known that Celeste had somehow known the singer David. Since then, it's been a lot
Yeah,
of fight
apparently
for justice.
they
They say that
knew each other like online and stuff. And I mean, David was a Twitch streamer, ironically enough. I don't know if they played Fortnite or freaking Roblox or who knows what, but homie was being in kids' spaces where he should not have been. Totally preying on children.
that this today is going to be some sort of step forward.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app
All
or
right,
watch live
thank
on our
you,
YouTube channel.
NBC News. We saw the ABC News. Oh yeah, I wanted to watch this. Okay, well this is brand new.
The DA
From
has now
TMZ.
formally charged singer David with the murder of Celeste.
Oh, that's right. This guy talks a little too fast. Gotta slow him down. Not slow him down, but just put him at normal speed because he's on speed.
Rivas, and is alleging special circumstances. Now, a lot of the information is still vague. The DA would not get into specifics, but based on the special circumstances, I think this is a window in to what the DA is alleging. The DA is saying that the special circumstances were lying in wait and financial gain. Now, he is also being charged with having sex with a minor under the age of 14 and mutilation of a body. The sex with a minor under the age of 13 is significant. It seems like what the DA is saying. Now, he said that the financial gain is she was a witness to something, and if it got out, it would ruin his career. And killing her was a way of preventing that. So when you kind of connect the dots and put the pieces together, it seems what the DA is alleging is that Celeste was a witness to the fact that she was having sex with David. In other words, she's not just a witness, she is involved, and that she had percipient knowledge, as we say, of the circumstances that he was having sex with an underage girl. So what you would surmise is that when you look at the lying in wait charge, what you would surmise is the DA seems to be suggesting that in some way Celeste threatened to make their sexual relationship public or go to the police. Maybe they were having some kind of a dispute. That's what it seems the DA is suggesting. And that the lying in wait is luring her over to his place and killing her so that she couldn't blow the whistle on him. Now, he didn't say that, but when you try to connect the dots of lying in wait and financial gain, you know, for possibly ruining his career, that seems to be where it's heading. Now, when he is charged with special circumstances, that means the death penalty is on the table. It doesn't mean that he will be, that the DA will seek the death penalty, but it is on the table. He is 20 years old. Now, it could go either way because he is an adult. So that's ultimately going to be up to the DA. The immediate consequence of pleading special circumstances is that he will almost certainly be denied bail. So while he awaits trial, then that would probably mean that he will be in jail for the duration of the waiting period. So that said, he is going to be arraigned today formally on charges. What is going to be interesting is this. The DA has an option here, which is even after the charges are filed, to go back to the grand jury and ask the grand jury to indict David for these various crimes. If the DA chooses that route, The advantage of it is that it avoids a preliminary hearing, which the DA may or may not want. A preliminary hearing, even though it's designed to see if there's enough evidence, it's also designed to road test your case. I don't know whether the DA is going to go the grand jury route or not. It wouldn't shock me if the DA did that. So right now, David charged with 3 crimes, one of which puts the death penalty on the table. The medical examiner is expected shortly to release not the manner and the cause of death. We've already reported that a high-up LAPD source told us that the medical examiner has ruled her death a homicide, but we do not know how the death was caused, according to the medical examiner, and that will be in the medical examiner's report. That could come out as early as today, and obviously we will have that on our website the second we get it.
Crazy.
So for now, the DA has played his cards, was not
Crazy. Okay. Thank you, sir, from TMZ. I don't know what your name is. But yeah, like the comments saying justice for Celeste. Harvey Lemon. Thank you, Harvey Lemon. Levin. Not Lemon. No relation. Yeah. Awful. Absolutely awful. But glad something is happening about it. So yeah. Let's go to this governor's debate, or not debate, but like what each CBS LA collected all the candidates. And it's their perspectives on insurance. Let's watch this real quick. And then after that, we're going to pull up some of the different socialists that are running for different positions in California.
Insurance. What do you do to stabilize California's insurance market without pushing insurers out of California? We're looking at folks who cannot get insurance. How do you keep insurance companies in California while still keeping rates down in a world where we're seeing climate-driven disasters? You have people who live here who say, I cannot afford to pay the prices that they are charging. You have a private industry that does not have to work here saying, if you keep building expensive homes near burnable things, we cannot insure that.
No, but there's so many common sense things you can do, for example. So there is, I think there's some, I mean, I need to dig into it, but that someone in the insurance industry was telling me that there's legislation that actually that stops something incredibly common sense being done, which is defensible space being put around new building in those areas. But anyway, as I understand it, Lara, the insurance commissioner, has finally made the changes in how insurance companies can price future risk that a lot of people have been asking for many years. I mean, you know,
well, that's sort of a separate issue, but let's get to that.
You know, it's a massive issue for so many Californians. Either these insanely high premiums they're paying, or they can't get insured at all, and they're on the FAIR plan, and we know that the state-run FAIR plan is a disaster. If anything goes wrong, that's a massive financial liability. This is a huge problem, and so. I've spoken to the industry about it, and the insurance industry tell me that finally they feel that some of these long-standing policy mistakes have been corrected, and so that they're telling me. I mean, we need to dig into it more, and perhaps you could do some investigating.
I've done some investigation.
Well, the insurance industry is telling me that actually things are getting back to on the track that they feel they're going to come back into the state. Yes, rates are going to go up, but at least they're going to be able to insure because they can price risk properly. So that's what I'm being told. But again, let's look at another component. Why premiums so much higher in California? Because building costs are so much higher in California. So of course, if you're to insure a building, like what's the replacement?
Yeah, most people are underinsured because they can't afford it.
Because it costs so much. So if we bring all these things tied together, if we bring the cost of building down, that's another way we can bring insurance costs down because it doesn't cost so much to rebuild in the event that something happens.
Insurers have to make money. There are two things we need to do here. Both of them possible, both of them driven by new technology and new ideas. One is wildfire control. This is
this is not just health insurance. This is like homeowners insurance, fire insurance, renters insurance. Like, okay. Let's continue hearing Tom Steyer on it.
Fire ecology. There are always going to be fires. What we're trying to avoid is devastating fires. And that is something that can be monitored, that can be controlled with new technologies. I believe the governor's, doing it, but I believe we can control devastating fires. That's the actual issue. But the second thing is, I believe there are new technologies that are quite inexpensive and can be financed to harden houses that have an incredibly high success rate, way over 90%. If that's true, and both of those I believe to be true, we should go to insurance companies. This is the biggest insurance market in the United States of America. They want to be here. They have to be able to write insurance that makes money. The job of the governor is to go to them and say, you need to take into account the data. We've solved this problem. You can look at it. You can write successful insurance. We insist that you get the data and charge people fairly for the people who've hardened their houses, and to take into account the fact that we have, as a state, dealt with devastating wildfire.
So I think we need to think about changing some of the rules around how insurance companies function in California. I think the proposal that the insurance commissioner rolled out is the right one. I think it came too late. We've already seen too many exits. We've already seen rates go up too soon. I support the wildfire fund. I think that's going to be a big part of having a plan in case of catastrophic wildfire, so that our insurers know that that fund is going to be there for them, and people who lose their homes know that fund is going to be there for them. That fund needs to be recapitalized and restarted. That's up right now for debate in the legislature, and I support that fund. Ultimately, I think we're going to have to be realistic. The costs of insurance are going up in many places. That's not just true in California. That climate change is happening everywhere. But the way to bring costs down is to make sure we have a lot of companies in the marketplace competing on price. So we're not going to be able to bring the price down unless we retain those companies.
So we're going to have to bring back the private insurance
I don't know
market,
how.
and it's
Okay,
comparable.
like whatever. Obviously, this is. I don't know how much this is actually an issue that governors can address, right? Like, I feel like this is the affordability issue. Yes, it's at the top of everyone's list, but like it's multiple components. It's not just one issue that is the reason for why this thing is failing, right? So, yeah, Katie Porter saying that we need more competition. We need to have more businesses here providing insurance. I don't know. Just make like a government, state-run insurance for all homes. I don't know, man. There has to be a better solution than just like making more businesses, having it more convoluted, and yeah, I don't know.
What we're seeing in energy, if we don't have a functioning competitive
Matt Mahan,
market,
you're
prices
done.
go up,
Get
and pretty soon
outta
we're overly
here.
reliant on government to provide services, and we don't have the resources to do it at the scale we would need. We'll have to allow the private sector to come back into the insurance market in California. That means we have to be able to price risk, and that's not easy. But folks who are living out in fire zones will have to pay more. I think the state can help offset that by investing in those fire breaks and doing more vegetation management to reduce catastrophic risk. If we have fewer catastrophic fires in the coming years, we will not only save lives and property, but we will see rates start to come down. And so the state has to play a role in better reducing large fire risk and catastrophic loss. We also, though, need to have a functioning market where private insurance companies are competing for people's business versus what we have today, where government's the only backstop and we don't have the funds to actually deal with the amount of need that's out there.
Yeah. So if you remember, the insurance market is based on spreading risk, right? The more people you have, the more you can spread the risk. Somebody has a problem, you got a whole bunch of other folks who don't.
Yeah.
Spreading risk. Okay, you can still make money. So the insurance industry can still make money. They just have to know how to spread the risk. And what we have to make sure is that when we pay them, they're not using that money to make investments outside of our state.
Yeah.
You want money from us? Let us show us that you're putting the money back in California. So do what I always keep saying to you. You got to bring folks in early. Let's take a look at what you're saying your problem is, insurance industry and staying in California. Okay, show me your books. And if you're telling me we're not letting you charge enough, show me, and we'll see.
And that's what Ricardo Lara said he's doing right now. I mean, do you support what the insurance commissioner is doing right now?
I can't tell you I know everything that the insurance commissioner is doing. What I can tell you is there are still people in the Pacific Palisades and Altadena who haven't yet heard from their insurance company about when they're going to get their money or how much they're going to get. And that I would never let stand. I would do what I did as secretary, where I had to bring in industry titans and said, you have a problem, we have to resolve it, we're not leaving this room until we come up with a solution. We did that. We could do that again with the insurance industry and say, at least, even if I don't have by law the right to say this, I can say, look, you don't want me to go out as governor and say that you aren't willing to tell your own customers when they can expect to receive their check for their burned house that burned 6 months ago.
This is how we got here. Until just recently, we didn't do catastrophic modeling.
Oh my God, why is Viragosa talking so slowly? And why hasn't his hair grown out yet? Jesus. I can't believe his dye job has not grown out. It's been like at least 6 months. Deviate said, Funky Kong, also hi everyone. Yes, hello, welcome in. Happy 420.
Every other state in the country did catastrophic modeling because we're living in a world of climate change. You know, in Florida, it's hurricanes. Here, it's fires. 2, we didn't allow reinsurance. Every state allowed reinsurance. Why?
Allow them to charge for
Well,
reinsurance.
No,
To pass on the cost of
He's
reinsurance to
talking
the
so
consumer.
quiet.
no, we didn't allow them to reinsure.
Well, they're
What
all
does that mean?
reinsured, but we didn't allow them to charge us. So in other words, I'm not paying for State Farm's reinsurance.
3, across the country, the average time that it takes to raise rates is 3 months. In the state, it was more than a year. So we brought us to some of this. Now we have Prop 103, and so we have an opportunity to obviously, review rate hikes to make sure they're not price gouging, and I will never support price gouging. But when the entire market leaves because of those 3 issues, disproportionately, by the way, then you have a problem. And we should have seen this coming.
2 things can be true at once. The insurance industry has to pay more. They've earned so much money.
Okay, let's
off
hear
of
Tony
Californians,
Thurmond
and then
on
to pick up
this.
and leave
His
in our
the
moment of greatest
longest
need
section
is
by far.
unacceptable. And I will hold them to account and with more regulation and more pressure. At the same time, we need to learn to build differently. Wildfire is part of our new normal in the state of California, and we have to build with materials that will keep our homes safer. We have to build in places that are less likely to be impacted by fire or by flood. We have to have enough, natural burns to address areas that could trigger fire. We have to do all the things that we know to keep our communities safe.
But why haven't we done that thus far? I mean, it's wonderful to say we need to do these things, but how do you tangibly do that if we haven't been able to do thus far?
Well, I think the urgency is certainly upon us, and we know that we have to do it. We have to educate home builders and educate homeowners, prospective homeowners, to not put themselves in situations that will keep them unsafe. And it's incumbent on us to do all the prevention that we can, because we don't have enough people power and resources to keep up with all of the disasters that can affect us. And so, again, I see it as holding the insurance industry accountable. In this state, California has tried to create its own insurance industry. There's no way that California can self-insure in the way that this private sector could. And for them to be able to take all the money
This is
from
the
California
answers
and
that I
they
was
need them,
wanting.
in places like Pasadena and Altadena, that they just pick up stakes and leave is unacceptable. I'm going to hold the insurance companies accountable, but I will also hold ourselves in the state accountable to how we build and where we build.
But to be clear, you don't, as governor, you don't have the authority to hold them accountable for leaving. They're a private company, they can leave.
What they're really saying is they don't want to dip into their profit margin. What they're really saying is thank you, California, for all the years where the majority of Californians paid their homeowners insurance, never made a claim, and then when they finally needed to have their home insured against some disaster, the company that they paid all that money to left them high and dry. They can do better. And if they want to do business in this state, the governor does have authority to hold them accountable. If they want to leave, then they can do business elsewhere. But I guarantee you, they're going to want to, at some point, serve the 40 million people in the great state of California. We expect them to be a partner. We have no problem with someone who wants to earn a profit, but take care of the people who provide you that profit. And as governor,
I have problem with someone who wants to earn a profit off of insurance. This is research for another time because I have no idea about homeowners insurance, but I would love to know if California could have state-run homeowners insurance, and if it could be more successful than private insurance companies, and that would be great. Let me take note of that real quick. Because it's not like just poor people that are going to suffer from the wildfires. Rich people are going to suffer from it too, and why not have, it's not going to hurt them to have government run insurance. But okay. Deviate said we don't want for-profit insurance. It doesn't work and it never has. Exactly. Yeah, so we need to think of a more viable option. It's like if there's one thing government should be there for, it's to insure my property, right? And what is my property? My land and my house. That's what I want government to do. If I'm a conservative and I'm, small intervention, I'm small government, Republican, the only time I want the government to be there is to put out the fire that's burning my house down and to help me rebuild my house when that fire inevitably burned it down, because Mother Nature happens, right? Yeah, that'd be something really interesting to look into. State-run, California state-run homeowners insurance. I know that there is some like reduced like car insurance that the state reduces for people who can't afford car insurance. And, why can't they do something like that for homeowners insurance? But okay, let's get back to it. All right. Let's read this story on the Green Party. Oh, hey, Bashona in a box. No need to apologize for being late. This is a stream that you come in anytime, and we hang out anytime. You can watch it anytime, live or not live. Hope you're having a good one. Happy 420. I know you don't partake in that either, but happy 420. All right. So, I've had this dude pop up on my Instagram for a while now. He is running for governor, and he is of the Green Party, I believe. And he's been calling out Javier Becerra, right? Which is totally great. We want that. We want candidates to be called out, and we want candidates to, if there's any time for discussion, debating, fighting, infighting, whatever, it is to happen right now. So this guy, I thought his name was Butch, but I guess that's just his nickname. His real name is Rudolph Ware. He's been popping up on my Instagram nonstop. And so I'm finally like, okay, let's look into him. He's running for governor. He has some pretty sick memes. Look, here we go. Calls out corporate Democrats.
Who they represent.
Oh.
Mask off, billionaires.
Oh,
mask
he sings
off.
too.
Mask off, corporations. Mask off. Big Pharma be trapping. See the future
man.
I inhabit.
Okay,
Going savage like I'm 21. Straight to the governor's mansion. Red.
Okay. Red Rum Trap. Oh, hell yeah. Okay, homie's a rapper. That's awesome. But, it's like you see stuff like this, and it's like, this is the kind of candidate I want to see. This is the kind of action I want to see from a candidate. It's just, I don't, no hate against the Green Party. I really don't know anything about y'all, but y'all are nobody. and at this point, I don't think having more than two parties in America is gonna be possible. So I'm not saying I don't want to strive for that, but it's just like at this point, I'd rather work within the Democratic Party, as stupid as it is. But yeah, Deviate says this guy looks familiar. Also sick memes. Yeah, we'll look into him a little bit more. He seems like let's listen to this interview.
Fascism with liberalism. Liberalism is the left wing of fascism. Sorry to the liberals out there that may just be hearing this. It's not about like your values and the things that you believe in. It's about a structural position inside of empire. And that's the reason why your liberal heroes keep creating forever wars. People forget, that Clinton was the architect of NAFTA. The gutting of the American working class was done on Democrats' watch, not on Republicans' watch. So all of that is just to say we have an opportunity to choose better. If we can deprogram from that cult programming that says that you have to pick a blue candidate, of course you don't. You can vote for whoever you want. It's your vote. And you should vote for the policies that you want, because if you vote for the policies that you want, you'll get them.
If you vote for the same thing, you're going to get the same thing.
The definition of insanity is repeating the same actions and expecting a different outcome. It's been 60 years basically of supermajorities in the state legislature for the Democrats in the state of California. How has that worked out for working people? The state of California has the highest wealth inequality of any state in the union and is tied with Louisiana for the highest poverty rates of any state in the union.
That's
and
crazy.
That has all been done on Team Blue's watch, with Team Blue in charge. You can't blame Republicans for that. They didn't do that. Democrats did that. You put them first and they put you last, and here we are. But we don't actually have to settle for this.
Damn. Okay.
You
So
can't
yeah,
stop.
is messages like that. That's like, hell yeah. How can I not get behind that? You know, as a more progressive, left leaning, Democrat who doesn't even really feel like I belong in the Democratic Party, right? Um, it's like, damn, this how can I not like this? This is very tempting to go to. Like, I could imagine there's probably a lot of people out there that are like, hell yeah, F the Republicans, F the Democrats. I'm gonna sign up to be a Green Party member. And it's like, we know how this goes down the presidential route. We know how this goes. Maybe it might be an option in smaller municipalities, but I don't know. Deviate said, "Yeah, I hate when MAGA call us liberals," and it's like, liberals are on the same side as you. Like he said, it's the left of fascism. Yeah, there's a really great quote. I don't know who it's from, but basically, you scratch a liberal, and a fascist bleeds because liberals are more often than not throughout history been willing to openly work with fascism to prevent socialism or to prevent workers' rights even, you know? So yeah, let's look a little bit into this guy now that we got like a face, we got a name, we got a voice, we got a couple of, we heard a little mask off cover. But okay. By you, Stella Yu, of March 26, 2026, judge rejects Green Party candidate's bid to appear on California governor ballots. So I imagine Mr. Butch Ware is going to have to be a write-in candidate. A Sacramento judge on Thursday rejected Green Party candidate's lawsuit against California Secretary of State Shirley Weber's office seeking to get on the June primary ballot for governor, concluding that he did not file the correct tax returns in time to qualify. Rudolph, quote unquote, Butch Ware is an associate professor of history at UC Santa Barbara. There we go. Who wants to be governor, argued that Weber's office inappropriately disqualified him even after he filed the necessary tax documents. He also claimed the 2019 state law requiring gubernatorial candidates to submit 5 years of tax returns to qualify for the ballot is unconstitutional. Interesting. Why would you say that submitting tax returns is unconstitutional? The only other person who's like so refused to submit their tax returns, who was it? It was Donald Trump. Donald freaking Trump. So that's weird, but maybe it is unconstitutional. I don't know. If I'm running for governor, if I'm running for any office, which I never will, I would never run for office. I should have no problem sharing my tax returns. But again, I'm not running for office, so y'all are never going to see my tax returns. Ware said that while he tried to meet the March 6 filing deadline, he received contradictory and confusing messages from Weber's office asking him repeatedly to correct deficiencies such as mismatched returns and inappropriately redacted names that he said led him to believe that Weber was arbitrarily establishing thresholds to meet and hurdles to jump to disqualify him. His attorneys argued in court Thursday, but that was a while ago, that he fixed those errors and there was there was a complete set of correct matching tax returns for all 5 years among the various filings he submitted. Weber's office refuted his claims, arguing Ware's paperwork contained multiple inconsistencies, including a missing business name, a partial date, and missing values in certain fields. Sacramento Superior Court Judge James Arguelles denied Ware's claim, saying the Secretary of State clearly demonstrated its attempt to work with Ware to correct its filings. Ware deemed the ruling a conspiracy by the quote-unquote Democratic establishment to keep him off the ballot. He said he would appeal the ruling and file a separate federal suit against Weber. And here's a picture of homie. We will be on that ballot, he said. If they continue the fraudulent, dirty tricks running cover and carrying water for the Democrat administration that is scared, we will beat them with a write-in vote. Okay, just as we suspected, he's going to have to do write-in. Where is one of at least two candidates for governor this year challenging the tax requirement law? He argued in his court filings that the legislature does not have the authority to add additional qualification requirements as it did in 2019. Weber's office argues that state lawmakers have the power to apply reasonable requirements for candidates to safeguard the electoral process. While Arriagas did not rule the constitutionality of the law, he echoed the Secretary of State's argument and said the law is presumed to be constitutional unless unconstitutionality is clearly and unmistakably present. The California Supreme Court in 2019 struck down a previous part of the law that would have compelled presidential candidates, including President Donald Trump, to release tax returns, which Democrat contended would help inform voters. But judges ruled that requirement unconstitutional due to concerns that it would allow state lawmakers to mandate other disclosures the California Constitution does not explicitly require. And that's it. That doesn't answer any of the questions. Yeah, DVA said, I didn't know this guy was running for governor. Yeah, me neither. I just literally have been seeing him pop up on my Instagram like within the last 2 weeks. But that's because I've been following a lot of different candidates running for office here. But yeah, that's weird. I don't know how to feel about that. On one hand, it sounds like, he genuinely made some mistakes. And on the other hand, I don't know. I kind of don't trust the state or the Democratic Party. I wouldn't put it past them to do something like this, but also I don't know him. The fact that he just keeps defaulting to, it's the establishment Democrats for everything, and I'm not saying that's for everything. We still got to look at it, but it's like 4 out of 5 times the establishment Democrats have been been the blame for his problems. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I said, he's Green Party. I really don't know what like the Green Party's platform is. Okay, they have 4 pillars. The Green Party has 4 pillars: peace, ecology, social justice, and democracy. Our country's long wars and worldwide military presence are immoral and unsustainable. Our military budget must be cut dramatically. Okay. Ecology. The human cost of climate change is too high. We need to get off fossil fuels and onto renewable energy. Great. Social justice. Falling wages and rising bills are hitting most of us. And the most vulnerable are hit the hardest. We demand a living wage and a real safety net. Democracy. We demand public financing of elections, open debates, and more representative voting system. I mean, yes. What are their, so they have 4 pillars and 10 key values: grassroots democracy, social justice, and equal opportunity. Oh my God, it's the same thing. Nonviolence, decentralization, community-based economics, feminism and gender equity, respect for diversity, personal and global responsibility, future focus, and sustainability. What does decentralization mean? Centralization of wealth and power contributes to social and economic justice, environmental deconstruction, and militarization. We seek a reconstruction of social, political, and economic institutions. Okay, we get it. Okay, so here's my question to the Green Party. Oh, DV8 said, so you still have Javier Becerra as your vote. Yes, Javier Becerra is still my main pony in the California gubernatorial race. I mean, he's jumped so much. He's like almost like the underdog. But as a leftist, as a Bernie supporter, as a a Democratic hater, no, I mean, as someone who's critical of the Democratic Party, I wanted to do my due diligence and look into the other candidates that are running, just so that way, I know about them. We covered them on the broadcast, and we can, at least say that, we're well informed in this election. Renewable energy would create a lot of jobs, actually. I know it would be like how World War II was in the US, but this time we are fighting global warming. 100%. 100%. And I bet that's what the Green Party's Green New Deal is about. Uh, yeah. Yeah. The Green New Deal will convert old gray economy into new sustainable economy that it's environmentally sound. Yeah, like imagine if we could just have a bunch of instead of like if we took one branch of the military. I don't know. Say we took the National Guard or not even the National Guard. Let's say we took the Coast Guard and put them to work building I want to call them windmills, but they're not windmills. Wind farms, right? A bunch of these whatever the heck they're called, windmills. Yeah, electric turbines, whatever they are, turbines. There's pictures of them, but there's no words on the page. If we took an entire, like, I don't know, man, how many people are in a platoon? If you took like two platoons, put them across the country and, or at least in the state of California and have them build a bunch of these things, that would be great. Or not even take the military, hire individuals, hire not bums, but just hire people that, need the work experience and train them on the job to put these freaking windmills together. And then they will have so many skills that are transferable to other sectors of construction and whatnot. But yeah, deviate. That's such a great idea. That was the one good thing that came out of World War II was that we industrialized like hell. That's what set America apart was that we didn't have our factories bombed like the UK did, I'm sure. But yeah, man, we could have done we can America is great. I know that for a fact. America is great. We just need to set our minds to the like we all need to be in the same ship, rowing towards the same thing. Yeah. All right. So that was that on. Okay, let's read this other article from Current Affairs. There we go. Okay. So this, yeah, by Current Affairs. I know this is a magazine. I've never really read it or anything, but I think it's kind of like an old-timey thing. Oh, look, here's this guy again, Mr. Butch. Now I'll never not be able to recognize his face because, like, he's got such a square jaw, and he's got a receding hairline, and his curly little balding head is it's funny. Okay. Leftists can stack up wins in the 2026 midterms. Election day is coming, and there's opportunity for socialist, labor candidates, and the Medicare for All movement to make historic gains. I can agree with that. Medicare for All movement. By Alex Skopic. We're now 2 months into 2026. Oh, this came out in February. A quarter of the way through Donald Trump's second presidency. And things have been grim. Overseas, Trump's government has attacked Venezuela and kidnapped its head of state, killing at least 83 people in the process. Trump is now threatening Colombia, Cuba, Mexico, Iran. Well, he didn't. He followed through with his threats on Iran, Greenland, and Nigeria with the same kind of aggression. And that's the short list. At home, ICE troops have murdered Renee Good and Alex Peretti in the streets. And they've killed at least 6 people in nightmarish detention centers across the country. I think it's more than 6. Measles is spreading everywhere, thanks largely to anti-vaccine propaganda from the people like RFK Jr., and the literacy rate continues to slide downward while the economy and the environment are consumed by AI data centers. The State of the Union, frankly, was a train wreck. Yes, it was. Or it would be if we had any decent trains to begin with. Ha 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 ha. So funny. No, that was a good joke. The good news is, though, is that the political pushback has already begun, and not just against Trump, but against the standard issue corporate-friendly Democrats who enabled him. In a New York Times panel this week, 13 Democratic voters described their party and its leadership with words like spineless, paralyzed, afraid, and incompetent. When asked what kind of candidate they would like to see running for office, all 13 said a progressive. None said a moderate. Their total consensus is striking. But after a full year of watching Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer flop around like landed trout while Trump does whatever he wants, it shouldn't be surprising. Clearly, there's a real appetite in this country for politicians with a strong left-wing vision, and as the 26 midterms approach, the left is ready to deliver them. Deviate said raccoon PP Kennedy Jr. You know what? RFK, when he goes, it's gonna be an entire all day event, I bet. Okay. Here's some progressive candidates running. We have Candy 46. Oh, they don't say. Oh, she's in Nevada, Michigan, Georgia, Wisconsin, Maryland, New Jersey, Washington, Virginia, Iowa, Oregon, North Carolina, Arizona, Indiana, and no moderate candidates. Interesting. All right. Already, the first spark has struck. We started the year off with inauguration of Kate Wilson in Seattle and Zoran Mamdani in New York City, both Democratic Socialist mayors with ambitious agendas to reshape their cities. In the weeks since, we've also seen dramatic victories from progressive legislators. First, Taylor Remmett, a labor organizer for the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, IAM, scored a startling win with the Texas State Senate, beating a Trump-endorsed candidate in a district Trump won by 17 points. That's crazy. In 2024. Then, days later, Analia Mejia, I think. Analia Mejia won the primary for New Jersey's 11th congressional district after receiving endorsements from both Bernie Sanders and AOC. And when we look down the track to November, it looks increasingly possible that these 2 wins are only the beginning. The Senate. For starters, take the Senate, where Republicans currently have a 53-47 majority. For Democrats to take it back, they need to flip 4 seats and defend their current ones. And in that effort, there are several leftists, Medicare for All activists, and labor candidates with a shot. In Kentucky, Charles Booker is currently the front runner in the Democratic primary, running on a platform of Medicare for All, universal basic income, reparations, and universal child care, along with refusing to fund genocides and an ever-growing military-industrial complex. Well, that's good that Cory Booker said that, finally. Here at Current Affairs, we profiled Booker when he ran in the previous Senate cycle, which saw him narrowly lose to Amy McGrath in 2020. McGrath is running again, but just like the New York Times panelist, it seems Kentucky voters are reconsidering the wisdom of of centrism. And with Mitch McConnell retiring to his ghoul crypt, a Democratic may even have a chance in the general election this time. Meanwhile, in Michigan, Emerson polling from the end of January found that the primary was wide open. Right now, Senator Mallory McMurrow is in the lead with 22%, but Medicare for All advocates Dr. Abdul El Sayed, ooh, where had we heard that name? It's like someone endorsed him, and then the entire Democratic Party freaked out about that endorsement. That's right, it was Hassan Piker. When Hassan Piker went to go campaign with Abdul El Sayed, everyone freaked out, saying that Hassan was anti Semitic, Abdul El Sayed is anti Semitic, and that Democrats cannot let Hassan Piker into the party. Okay. El Sayed is a friend of the magazine. We've profiled him when he ran for governor in 2018, interviewed him about the Senate race last summer, and if elected, he'd be the first senator who's written a current affairs article. But that doesn't mean we aren't disappointed with some of his choices, like telling the Daily Wire he's not a socialist in a recent interview. Abdul, what on earth are you thinking? Deviate said, I wish Abu Ghazalia, there we go, won her Illinois 6th district. I believe, 6th district, I think it was. She ran one hell of a campaign, though. Yeah, it was crazy how basically AIPAC was the reason why she didn't do as well. AIPAC did everything they could to prevent a Palestinian from becoming elected. Okay. Over in Nebraska, independent union leader Dan Osborne is taking another crack at Senate, having narrowly failed to defeat Republican incumbent Senator Deb Fischer in 2024. His opponent this time is Senator Pete Ricketts, and Ricketts is vulnerable, partly because the Trump administration's decision to quadruple beef imports from Javier Milei's Argentina has angered a lot of farmers. Yeah. And partly because Ricketts has defended the Tyson Company's decision to abruptly close a meatpacking plant that employed 3,200 of his constituents in Lexington. Oh my God. 3,000 people laid off because Tyson didn't want to put their make their chicken nuggets over there anymore? Bro, I'm going to have to boycott Tyson chicken nuggets, and I don't want to do that. Right now, the Omaha Herald reports that he and Osborne are in a dead tie. In Delaware, there's Christopher Beardsley, a Peace Corps veteran who backs Medicare for All and condemns the genocide in Gaza, but has gotten bizarrely little press attention as he challenges incumbent Senator Chris Coons. What a name. DVA said Pete Crickets. You might remember Coons as the legislator who was repeatedly yelled at on a train by Gray Zone reporter Aron Maite after Coons refused to call for a ceasefire in Gaza in late 2023. And in Maine, Graham Plattner has somehow weathered the controversy over his Nazi tattoo, which you really might have expected to finish him, and now is commanding lead in his primary, beating Governor Janet Mills by as much as 15 points in some polls. Like Osborne, Plattner would face a weakened opponent in the general, as a recent Morning Consult poll shows. Only 2 in 5 Maine voters approve of incumbent Senator Susan Collins. Yeah, Susan Collins she's in the hot seat. But there are more parties in this country than the Democrats and Republicans, and some of them are getting active. After focusing mostly on presidential races in recent years, the Party for Socialism and Liberation, that's the PSL, is fielding 2 candidates for the Senate. Greg Levy, a military veteran and community organizer running to replace Senator John Husted? John Husted in Ohio, and Joe Tachi, who calls capitalism itself a national emergency and is running against Senator Ed Markey in Massachusetts. Because of the structural issues with funding and ballot access that face any third-party candidate in America, they each have particularly a hard fight ahead of them. But at the same time, having options on the ballot further left than Democrat is valuable in itself. 100% agree. Okay, here we go. The House. We're going to talk about Kat Abigazilia. Turning to the House of Representatives, the Democrats have an easier task here. Just add 4 seats to their current 214 and they've got a majority. And in the House, as you might expect, there's an even bigger range of left-wing candidates. Some of them are fairly well known. In Illinois, Kat Abigazilia got a big publicity boost after being physically assaulted by ICE at a protest last September, then hit with criminal charges for supposedly assaulting them. That's crazy. Saikat Chakrabarty, I think that's how you say it, made headlines for calling Nancy Pelosi in California's 11th district before Pelosi announced her retirement last November, leaving an open field. And in Missouri, former Representative Cori Bush is launching a comeback campaign after losing her seat to heavy AIPAC spending in 2024. With the reputation of AIPAC significantly dimmed these days, it's now a whole different landscape for her. In New York, Representative Richie Torres, oh yeah, he's AIPAC, biggest AIPAC supporter. Representative Richie Torres has annoyed so many people that he has 3 progressive challengers. Former mayor candidate Michael Blake, who says that Torres cares more about Bibi than he does about the Bronx. DSA organizer Dalorian Nemorian, and a PSL candidate, school teacher Andre Easton. If anything, the municipality of options, or the multiplicity of options in that race may be a problem, allowing Torres to split the progressive vote. And a lot may depend on Zoran Mamdani endorsement if he does decide to give one. Only a few weeks into his tenure as New York City mayor, Mamdani has already become a powerful player in his state's congressional politics. Inspired by his mayoral win, a whole new crop of Democratic Socialists are running across New York State. But Mamdani is picking and choosing which to endorse. Controversially, he discouraged Chi Ose from running in NY District 8, although incumbent Representative Hakeem Jeffries still has a challenger, Vance Bostick, an outsider candidate who says he's been a carny, a waiter, a line cook, and a food truck hustler. Wow. You know what? We need all of these crazy people running in office, okay? These are the Americans we need. Meanwhile, Mamdani has endorsed Claire Valdez, formerly a DSA state assembly member like himself, to run in neighboring NY7, where she's been replacing the retiring Representative Nadia Velazquez. But at the time of writing, it's reportedly an open question whether he'll do the same for Darheliza Alvia Chevalier. Oh my God, these names. Okay. Chevalier, yeah. All right, I'll run then since I'm crazy. Hell yeah, deviate, run, be the socialist candidate that Mamdani would endorse. As Megan Day writes for Jacobin, Espelt is heavily funded by both AIPAC and the real estate industry. So whether Chevalier can take him down will be a major test of DSA's political muscles. There are other candidates for the House, though, who haven't gotten nearly enough media attention, either because of the ongoing decimation of local journalism or for ideological reasons. One of the most notable is Kushwama Schwant, who's running an independent socialist for Washington's 9th district. Unlike a lot of third-party candidates, Schwant actually has a track record of getting things done in government. Having served 3 terms on Seattle's city council and successfully fought for a $17 minimum wage, so she at least deserves to be discussed seriously. There's also Isaiah Thompson, a socialist housing advocate running to replace Representative Bonnie Watson Coleman after her retirement in New Jersey's 12th district. Thompson's platform includes a nationwide public housing program, implementing Medicare for all, supporting the Green New Deal, abolishing ICE, embargo arms shipments to Israel, and banning congressional stock trading. Wow, amazing. Which ticks a lot of policy boxes. The more you research, the more candidates you find. In Missouri, another DSA member named Hartzell Gray is running for the 4th congressional district. He's a tenant organizer and a Kansas City radio host, and has angered the pro-Israel website Carney Mission by calling Netanyahu the blood-soaked butcher of Gaza. Wow. Among other pro-Palestinian statements. In New Jersey, former Bernie Sanders delegate named John Hsu, who also wants to end the genocide in Gaza, is making a second attempt to unseat Representative Frank Pallone after failing in 2024. The Green Party has 2 notable House candidates of its own, both U.S. military veterans who were horrified and disillusioned by the Gaza genocide. Greg Stoker and Anthony Aguilar. Aguilar is running in North Carolina and was the key whistleblower in the case of fraudulent Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. No way. Yeah, hell yeah, damn, based for sure. We need to look into him, Anthony Aguilar, and Greg Stoker. It's not Stroker. Jesus. Sorry. I'm sorry. This is based ass man, and I'm here making fun of his last name. Meanwhile, Stoker is running for Texas's 31st district, and one of his opponents is Valentina Gomez, the extremist Republican candidate who likes to film herself burning the Quran. Wow. Fuck that lady. So voters there are in for an interesting year. Even in deep red Utah, there's 26-year-old Luis Villarreal, another Democratic socialist who says abolishing ICE is the moderate position. He's running for a district in Salt Lake City that doesn't exist until the map of Utah was redrawn by judge last November. Though Bernie Sanders has instead endorsed State Senator Natalie Boylan, another Medicare for All candidate for that seat, so the left-wing Utahnians have options. I don't know if I'm saying... Deviate said, nah, you didn't say that. The burning the Quran? Let's look at this. Let's look at this link. I would love to see this lady. I swear to God, if the flamethrower is the one from the Boring Company or whatever Elon Musk's stupid other toy company he has, if that's the flamethrower, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Stories that hit hard and matter most. Join us as we amplify the voices that inspire and...
Starts right now.
Welcome and thank you for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored tonight. We begin with a viral video that's blowing up the internet. More than 3 million views on X, and it's so extreme. The platform flagged it for violating its conduct rules. The Texas politician who is campaigning for the 31st Congressional District, Valentina Gomez, has been banned on every other social media platform except X. And
Of
here's
course,
why. On
that's the
camera,
fascist
burning
platform.
the Quran and promising to end Islam in Texas.
Your daughters will be raped and your sons beheaded unless we stop Islam once and for all. We're done turning the other cheek. Remember, David didn't pray for Goliath. He killed them. America is a Christian nation, so those terrorist Muslims can off to any of the 57 Muslim nations. There is only one true God, and that is the God of Israel.
Oh, that's what. There it is. There it is. That's why she's burning the Quran, because she said there's only one true God, and that's the God of Israel. Tell me where your loyalties lie without telling me where your loyalties lie. She looks like she works for the IDF, but the Gomez is throwing me off.
Today we talk with Valentina
That's
Gomez.
crazy that
Let's
she's
take a
just-
look. And joining us now here on The Factor Uncensored, we have with us Valentina Gomez, who is running for a seat in the 31st Congressional District in 2026, which is near Central Texas. And Valentina, you are causing a damn uproar on social media. What's going on?
for being bad.
Isaiah, good evening. Thank you so much for having me on your show. Great to be with you tonight. I mean, the people are a little rowdy because I burned their little pedophile book, but in all honesty,
Their little
I haven't seen
pedophile
a single
book?
Muslim go against the actual rapist pedophiles in the UK and across Europe.
Now, when it comes to burning the Quran with your flamethrower, as we all saw on social media, is that a real threat here in the state of Texas or the United States? When we take a look at the numbers, they're only 1% of the population in Texas, 1%, 4 million people, those who practice Islam here in the United States. Is this a real problem, or is this about you stoking fears?
Isaiah, Muslims are raping and killing their way to take over Christian nations, and I will not allow that to happen. And I stand by my actions, and I will never bend the knee
by
for an
her
Islamic ideology that took the lives of 13 service members at Abigail exactly 4 years ago today.
Wow.
Now, when we say
Deviate said, "Oh yeah, I saw this lady. She's nuts. This is how comfortable they are now with their bigotry." Yeah, that's crazy, dude. Man, she called it a little pedophile book. Damn. I wonder if she has the same heat for the people on the Epstein's list. But okay. Jeez, she burned the Quran with her flamethrower. Okay, the Justice Democrat PAC has just released its own slate of 12 House candidates who are primarying incumbent Democrats. Okay, so we got Ming Vi in CA 07, Angela Gonzalez Torres in CA 34. We're gonna. Oh, that's it. That's just 2. Choose your fighter. Okay. Mai Vang and Angela Gonzalez Torres. We need to look into those people, I guess. Well, I don't know where CA 34 is. CA. I can't believe that lady just like bought a Quran, like a really nice Quran, and then just poured gasoline on it, and then just that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, does she not think that if the role was reversed and there was some, Muslim person burning the Bible, like, would she be okay with that? No, she wouldn't. She would be like, let's go invade that country right now. Like, this is the inflammatory stuff conservatives are doing, and like, this is what's gonna. This is. We're cruising for a bruising. CA 28 district too. Okay. All right. So 34 and 07. the 7th district is in, oh, it's like by Sacramento. Okay, it's some of Sacramento. Interesting. CA 28. Ah, what a weird little stupid gerrymandered district. Well, not gerrymandered, but it gets some of Upland, but then also goes all the way to Los Angeles, but also Wrightwood. Oh, this is where Judy Chu is from. Okay, okay. Interesting. Okay. All right. Now, this list just has some odd omissions in particular. Oh, this is blah, blah, blah. Okay. Yeah. Goofy map. Okay. Oh, yeah. Let's see. I think there's a socialist running for mayor. Here we go. In Los Angeles, they got two socialist candidates vying for the mayorship. Ray Huang announced her candidacy first on November 15th of last year, with a campaign focusing mainly on the cost of housing. She's both a single mother and a Presbyterian minister who cites Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. as key influence. More recently, Nithya Raman, a member of LA City Council, has also thrown her gloves down to challenge the incumbent mayor, Karen Bass. They've got the same problem tourist challengers have in New York. Okay, so yeah. Rhode Island, Ann Arbor, more New York City stuff, Washington, D.C. Even the Communist Party of the USA is making moves. Last year, the party earned fuming mad headliners from the New York Post when they got two city council members elected, Daniel Carson in Bangor, Maine, and Hannah Shevitz in Ithaca, New York. With its typical sleazeball, okay, post called Tanky Tyke. Wow, cringe. Okay, Carson ran as an independent, Shevs as a Democrat, but both have become some of the only elected communists in the United States since the 1940s. And in email exchange, a representative of the party confirmed to me that more candidates are on the way in the near future. Wow. Okay, state legislator Louisville DSA. Let's see. Let's get to California. Oh, that's it. No one in California. Governors. Okay. Finally, leftists are beginning to take aim at state level executive offices too. In California, Governor Gavin Gruesome Newsom resigned. Will soon be drawing, okay, Silicon friendly, blah, blah, blah. Tom Steyer. But the Green Party has also entered the ring with Butch Ware, their most recent nominee for vice president. Oh, he was for vice president in 24, who cites Malcolm X and Kwame Ture as his political heroes. Ambitious plan for state-owned social housing modeled after Vienna, Australia. Wow, that sounds amazing. ADV8 said, my cat came over to listen. I forgot what your cat's name is. I want to say Artemis, but I don't think it's Artemis. Valkyrie. Valkyrie. Thank you. That's cute. I'm glad Valkyrie is doing good, or at least chilling. Socialist candidate Ramsey Robinson is also running with the Peace and Freedom Party. Yes, you know what I'm saying. The Green Party for California governor has Butch Ware. Peace and Freedom Party has Ramsey Robinson. Right now, all of the above are trailing behind Eric Swalwell. Will Swalwell is done. He's out. In Georgia, Ruwa Romanin, Palestinian American. Okay, that's cool. Interviewing Jacobin. Butch Ware has said some transphobic bullshit. Oh no, let's look into that. Okay. Green Party VP candidate Butch Ware is getting heated for anti-trans comments. Butch Ware, the Green Party's candidate for vice president, sharing the ticket with Dr. Jill Stein. Maybe that's where you heard him before. He was VP run with Jill Stein. Said on a recent podcast appearance that biological males uh uh that biological males should not play on female sports teams. Big yikes. Although I don't know how to feel about that. I leave the trans debate alone. I don't understand why you can't have um I say that the trans debate shouldn't be an issue until trans women are unequivocally dominating female sports. If that's when I say we should address it as an issue. But until that happens, I don't think we should. Okay, so Deviate said, yeah, if we're going to do Medicare for Social Security and all and stuff like that, then we need to include everyone. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Okay. Ware appeared on the YouTube show The Black Channel on October 30th for a lengthy pre-election discussion during which host Jason Black asked him if he agreed with the idea of biological males playing in female sports. Okay. Ware responded that he didn't believe biological males should play in female sports and said that it gives an unfair competitive advantage. Although it is a common right wing talking point, there is no conclusive evidence in favor of banning trans women and girls from women's sports. Per a 2001 study, in fact, a study from April 2024 funded in part by the International Olympic Committee found that trans women may face several disadvantages in athletic competition. Wow. So they're not even dominating. Ware went on to say that the politicization of transgender rights is frankly right wing talking points that black folk have been kind of indoctrinated with over the course of time. He added that the Green Party agenda has not participated in the culture war between liberal extremist and conservative extremist. What? That doesn't make any sense, homie. You are labeled as a liberal extremist by the conservative extremist. Don't pretend like you have no horse in this race. But also added that the culture of fear, recrimination, whether on ethnic or gender or other sort of lines, is something that the overall fascist system of white supremacy benefits them. Clips from the podcast made rounds on X over the weekend, with many expressing disappointment in Ware's comments. Another clip from the podcast interview also went viral, with many claiming that Ware was speaking out of favor of restrictions on abortion. When asked if there should be limits on abortion, Ware responded with, there should be limits on everything, and referred to a lot of common sense regulation that most Americans agree on as something like 16 weeks. A national 15-week ban has become a favored compromise for anti-abortion crowd. Wow. Okay. So see, this is already telling me what I think I needed to hear about Butch Ware. And that's like, how can you say that there should be restrictions on abortion and you're not a man? Ugh. Crazy. In context, I was engaging in with what I thought was a discussion of nuanced policy. Oh, shut up, bro. Okay, okay, we get it, we get it, we get it. Okay. Thank you, Them Magazine, for giving a good perspective on Butch Ware. Okay. All right. Let's go back to current affairs. Okay. Dan Osborne says that although he supports the return to Roe v. Wade, he is personally anti-abortion. As for Graham Plattner, his bizarre past, first an anti-war protester, then a volunteer for the invasion of Iraq, then a crisis of conscience, then back to mercenary work in Afghanistan as recently as 2018, means I'll never fully trust him. Same. I don't. Graham Plattner feels like a mole to me. DV8 said my cat is making biscuits. Cute. Get cozy. El Said, as we've seen, has disavowed socialism to Ben Shapiro's media outlet. Others just don't have a very extensive track record to judge them on. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Let's see. Anything else close to California? Nah. But that was good. Thank you. Who wrote this again? Alex Skalpik. That was a good article. Comprehensive for sure. Okay. Oh, and then we already read this one. This was Butchware. Okay. All right, let's go to Ray Huang now. She's running for LA's mayor. Okay. Well, this is an opinion piece, but whatever. Let's read it. It's from March 10th. Opinion from Caleb Crowder. Hopefully, no relation to Steven Crowder. Ray Huang is the only true progressive in LA's mayoral race. Media coverage profoundly shapes electoral outcomes, the stories we choose to tell and the ones we choose to ignore. Don't just reflect on the race, they determine it. Right now, the dominant media narrative of LA's mayoral race would have you believe it is a two-person contest between incumbent Mayor Karen Bass and council member Nathania Ramin. Day after day, outlets breathlessly frame Ramin as a plucky outsider bold enough to challenge her own ally, principled enough to court the progressive vote, and exciting enough to generate clicks. Meanwhile, Ray Huang, a pastor, an organizing leader, and a working mother, is treated as an afterthought. That is a disservice to voters, and it needs to be said plainly. Huang is not only a serious candidate, she is the only frontrunner whose platform is urgent and bold enough to actually meet this moment. The platform that fits the crisis. Los Angeles is not facing a typical policy challenge. It is facing compounding, interconnected crises. A housing market that has abandoned working people, a transit system that fails them daily, an economy that enriches developers while squeezing everyone else, and a city government that too often responds to these failures with programs that look bold on paper and fall apart in practice. Huang's platform takes the full weight of that reality seriously. She is fighting for social and public housing as a genuine alternative to the endless cycle of market rate development that has driven cost out of reach for most Angelenos. She is demanding fast, free public transit that treats mobility as a right, not a luxury. Amazing. She has also promised to increase the minimum wage across sectors, strengthening workers' rights to organize, end wage theft, and close the racial wealth gap. She is advancing a vision of public safety grounded not in policing and punishment, but in meeting people's basic needs. Because, as her campaign puts it, real safety begins with people having what they need to survive and thrive. That is what governing and working people actually look like, and Los Angeles has been waiting for it long enough. The numbers do not lie. Los Angeles County's housing crisis is not a mystery. 59% of renters in the county are cost burdened, meaning they spend more than 30% of their income on housing, which is crazy because so many places require you to make like 3 times the income. That's crazy. And despite the years of promises that market rate development would eventually bring down cost, a 2025 study by Neighborhood Data for Social Changes from USC's Lusk Center found that nearly 1,500, 1,500 units built between 2018 and 2024, only 10% were affordable to lower income residents. Terrible. Yes, Karen Kelp, Karen Bass. I love it. The math simply does not work. Building market rate housing in one of the most expensive cities in the country does not produce affordability. It produces profit for developers while the crisis deepens for everyone else. Any candidate who points to market rate development as the primary solution to LA's housing emergency is either not grappling with the data or not being straight with voters. Huang understands this. Her platform centers affordable social and public housing precisely because she recognizes that the market, when left to its own devices, will never prioritize the people who need housing the most. What Raman actually believes. The sudden media fascination with Nithali, I think that's how you say it. Nithali, I don't know how to say her name, with Raman deserves scrutiny, not celebration. Raman built her political brand and won 2 council terms with the endorsement of Democratic Socialist of America, an organization with a platform that includes public banking, bold uses of eminent domain, and structural alternatives to the privatized economy that has produced so much of LA's inequality. DSA's electoral infrastructure is formidable, and Rahman benefited enormously from it. But in 2 recent interviews, one with NBCLA and the other with KTLA, a very different picture emerged. Raman distanced herself from public banking, creative uses of eminent domain, and government owned grocery stores. No, why would she not want government owned grocery stores? That's so popular with Zoran. She declined to say whether she would make public transit free. Oh no, she's flippin'. She offered only vague assurance of more oversight when pressured on the failures of the city's Inside Safe homelessness program. And when asked directly about her local DSA's chapter's demand, she said simply, "The things that I've really pushed are the things that I believed in." Yikes. A pointed departure from the platform that got her elected. The break with DSA LA became impossible to ignore when the chapter formally censored Raman for seeking and accepting an endorsement from Democrats for Israel. No, what the frick? How do you go? This is like John Fetterman. Wow. Democrats for Israel. That's crazy. A Zionist organization that has unequivocally supported Israel's campaign against the Palestinian people. For a candidate who built her career on a progressive people first brand, aligning with an organization that has stood against one of the most urgent humanitarian demands of our times is not a minor inconsistency. It's a revealing one. Yeah. Rather than address these issues, Raman has instead built her mayoral candidacy around easing requirements for housing developers and prioritizing market rate construction. Boo. Boo. That is not progressive housing policy. It is the conventional wisdom that the development industry has been selling to the city government for decades, and it has not worked. All right. The failure of Inside Safe. Perhaps no issue better illustrates the gap between Raman's rhetoric and Huang's courage than the Inside Safe program. Mayor Bass has championed Inside Safe as a bold, housing led strategy to address encampments across the city. Raman has echoed that support, but the reality on the ground tells a different story. The program has moved very few clients into permanent housing. while producing significant displacement and destruction of unhoused people's belongings, the very belongings that many depend on for survival. For years, unhoused Angelenos and their advocates have been calling for an end to Inside Safe and the broader criminalization of poverty through ordinances like 41.18. Huang has had the courage to listen to them and to say so publicly. That matters, especially as LA County considers plans to clear unhoused people from areas around sports venues ahead of the 2028 Olympic Games, raising the stakes of the debate considerably. The next mayor will need to stand firmly on the side of LA's most vulnerable residents, not on the side of optics, development interest, or at Olympic timelines. Huang has already shown she is willing to do that. The question is whether voters will give her the chance. DV8 said, now ask them if they will arrest Bibi if he lands in LA, since he is wanted. Yes, I know. I could imagine Ray Huang saying so, but I mean, this other lady who is LARPing as a progressive, I don't think so. I don't know. All right, the media responsibility and ours. The press has enormous power in a race like this. When outlets decide day after day to frame Ramin as a progressive standard bearer without interrogating her actual policy positions, they are not covering the race. They are shaping it. Voters deserve better. They deserve a full accounting of what each candidate is actually proposing, and they deserve to know that Ray Huang, bless you, is not a footnote in this story. She is the most important character. The next mayor will either rise to meet the depth of the crisis or manage it at the margins while the city continues to slip away from the people who built it. Ray Huang is a candidate who understands what this moment demands and who has the platform, the values, and the courage to deliver. Los Angeles doesn't need another mayor who arrives at the scene after the damage is done. It needs one who never lets it get that far. That mayor is Ray Huang. Wow, great writing by Caleb Crowder. Appreciate it. Out of Los Angeles Daily News. Let's get to the next article here. Okay. Let's check out Ray's Instagram real quick because she was by far the first I saw. RAEHUANG. There you go. Ray for LA.
405 pack.
Crisis is brewing at City Hall.
Hey!
LA is stuck. The city is unaffordable and our leaders are unaccountable. We've been promised solutions on housing, transit, and affordability, but every year, it's the same excuses, the same gridlock, the same results. The system's stuck, but we're still moving.
I'm Reverend Ray Huang. I'm a mother, a pastor, and a community organizer. I'm running to make Los Angeles affordable and healthy, to lower our rent and deliver housing for all, to create an economy for the people, not the billionaires.
Hell yeah.
To finally transition to renewable energy and guarantee fast and free transit. To keep small businesses open and achieve real public safety through mental health care and crisis outreach. We're going to make sure every dollar in City Hall serves the people who need it most.
Heck yeah.
We need a new kind
Look at
of
the
leadership.
graffiti towers.
Free from the tired establishment and the billionaire class. Mayor Bass failed to deliver the housing we need and wasted taxpayer dollars with little to show for it.
Damn. Karen
Voters
Trout.
approved millions for homelessness,
Karen
but
Kelp.
the mayor only invested in Band-Aid programs and
Yeah.
tried to sabotage real solutions. And the result? 6 people a day continue to die on our streets.
Crazy.
I've seen the city move together through existential crises. When workers stood on picket lines, we showed up. When mass ICE agents came for our families, we showed up. When fires raged for miles in LA's worst climate disaster ever, we showed up.
That's the Los Angeles I believe in. We're moved to action through struggle, in community, with love. This campaign isn't about me. It's about us. It's about what happens.
Hey,
when we
where
rise
have I
together.
heard that
We can't
before?
tolerate
Not me,
corruption.
us,
We don't take
Bernie.
corporate cash, and we will not wait for permission. Let's get on our way.
Ray for LA. Hell yeah, what a good ass ad. With good ass music too. Wow. Yeah, so that seems pretty cool. Walkable, that's all I'm gonna say, cause you know the rest. Hell yeah. Make LA walkable.
One of the first things I will do when I'm in office is fire Chief McDonald. Nice. One of the first things I will do when
That's
I'm in
it.
office
That's the
is fire
post.
Chief McDonald. Nice. One of the
Okay, sorry. Okay, so yeah, here's Ray's Instagram. Where
LAPD is defunding this city. You might have heard LA is broke, but how can that be with a $6.6 billion annual budget? There's a $3 billion elephant in the room that makes up 46% of the city's budget. Our neighborhoods are being severely underfunded, while the police are being overfunded. LAPD liability claims have cost the city nearly $400 million since 2019. The LAPD is notoriously corrupt, racist, and sexist. But I'm not afraid of bullies. I'm ready to take the LAPD head on. The first thing I'm going to do is fire Chief McDonald, and this is how I'm going to do it.
fire Ronald McDonald. Wow. Pretty cool. All right. Let's see. Oh, look, here she is with Hassan.
We are unable to really unite as a whole city because we are segregated by all of these kind of invisible lines, right?
Yeah.
Of classism. And so because of policy, because of the infrastructure that we have, because of the fact that it takes so long to get from one side of the city to the other.
Yeah, there's no adequate public transit.
Yeah.
The roads are not walkable.
Yeah.
I mean,
there we
this
go.
is a major
There we
issue.
go.
And I think a lot of people, if someone were to communicate openly that like, this is actually how you become more neighborly with one another if you're like surrounded by other people. Like this would create a more cohesive identity around Los Angeles. It would improve livability. It would improve the living standards dramatically.
Yeah. We are unable to
There you
really
go.
unite as a
Yep, I blame the the Dodgers. But there you go. Walkable LA for sure. You heard it first from Hassan Piker interviewing Ray Huang. Okay, cool. So we got Butch Ware. Oh, we need that Robinson guy. But real quick. Here we go. I think this is more on the LA mayoral race. Let's read it real quick by Jim Newton. Came out April 2nd. Rules governing election and generating novel possible outcomes in the races of California's top two executive offices, the governorship and the mayoralty of Los Angeles. And in LA, they're producing strange bedfellows as well. At the state level, attention has centered around the possibility that nope, I'm not reading that. We are not reading the possibility of two Republicans being governor. We are ignoring that. That like red herring. DVA said, remember, cities aren't loud, cars are. Yeah, and you heard that in the video of her and Hassan walking. All you heard was cars honking. I mean, I think they were honking in support for the protest, but yeah. The cars are loud. Even the electric cars. I hate the woo 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 sound that they make. It's like just I'd rather have fake engine sounds than these like little UFO alien ships sounds that the Teslas and different electric cars do. Just be silent. I can hear the wheels moving on the pavement. Okay. Democrats generally prosper by that system, the jungle primary, blah, blah, blah. In Los Angeles, meanwhile, the city's election system has opened an unusual path for Mayor Karen Bass. If she uses more of her resources to boost the signal of a fringe candidate in order to clear the field of more serious opponents. Yes, thank you, DVD. DV8. Yeah, that's how it sounds. What the frick is this? Like, what the fuck, man? What the? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that in my walkable cities. Okay, here. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, we're getting a little sidetracked here, but. Oh.
Cameras are nice.
Oh my god. Oh. And then no sound. Okay, okay. You get it. You get it. There's no, stop it, deviate. There's one where it sounds like 1930s Germany speech. No, no, no. I know which one you're talking about. I know which one you're talking about. We're not going to play it on stream. Here, let's listen to the Hyundai. That's it. I don't hear anything. Creepy. Oh, man. The Mercedes? No. Oh my god, see, it sounds so freaking creepy. Okay, alright. Y'all get it, y'all get it. Okay, back to the Cal Matters article. The rules and strategies for Los Angeles municipal elections are different than those that at the state level. So these two races are a mirror of each other. Start with the fact that that the June municipal election is not a primary, it's an actual election. If any candidate for mayor or any other city office wins more than 50% of the votes cast in June, that candidate wins. There's no November runoff. The city race also is different from the governor's in that Los Angeles has an incumbent, Karen Trout, who won comfortably 4 years ago. For challengers, that makes the campaign for mayor in some ways more difficult than the one for governor. Bass is weaker than she was 4 years ago, but she's still mayor and has a strong core of support. And finally, Los Angeles is different from California because LA is even more liberal than the state whose politics it anchors. In the run up to LA's filing deadline, potential office seekers to Bass's political right melted away. But that wasn't the real threat to her anyway. Instead, Bass is facing two candidates to her political left. City Council member Nithya Raman, I guess that's her, and community organizer Ray Huang, as well as one to the right, MAGA favorite and former TV personality Spencer Pratt. You know this guy? Who is Spencer Pratt? He's from the Hills? I'm looking it up right now. Yes, he's from the Hills. What the he's a MAGA? That's crazy. He's always been MAGA? Oh man. Heidi Montag? Monta? Wow. Oh, she's friends with Lauren Conrad. Frenemies, you said? Hilarious. Crazy. Okay, so this dude is. Oh, Pratt formerly appeared on Wife Swap. Wow. Crazy. Pratt first appeared on television in 2005 in the short-lived reality series The Princes of Malibu. Wow. Pratt acted in the role manager publicist for the series for star Brody Jenner, the number one prince of Malibu, Brody. Okay. But Spencer and Brody, like, those names sound like they're straight up out of Malibu. All right. So now we know who Spencer Pratt is. He does not look like how he used to. I want everyone on screen to look at his Wikipedia page picture where he still looks like a teen idol. Obviously, it's from 2009. And then look at him in the picture of Cal Matters. Like, he's got a receding hairline. He's trying to brush it forward. He's got chubby little cheeks, no more chiseled jaw. And yeah, he just looks like a normal ass white guy. Okay. The field includes much for Bass to be relived about. It lacks a well-financing, high-profile challenger, and it features her in the top spot. One poll earlier this week showed her in second place, but it's an outlier. She leads in all others, though not commandingly. But the field also exposes a potential vulnerability. The city's political center of gravity may be shifting so rapidly that Bass, the first black woman to hold office and a veteran Democrat, may be too conservative for the city she governs. And add that to general voter dissatisfaction with her handling of the Palisades fire and its aftermath, Bass could face a genuine threat from Rahman, the most credible of her opponents. That's crazy. What's wrong with Ray? As the various campaign elbows towards the June 2nd slowdown, the city's election rules, its political demographics do provide Bass with an unusual, if controversial, option. Either her campaign or one of her backers could spend heavily to raise Pratt's profile, hoping that with Bass could help edge out Rahman and face a blah blah blah. Sorry, I read that so wrong, but whatever. That's a version of strategy that Adam Schiff employed when the congressman ran for Senate in 2024, recognizing that the former Dodger Steve Garvey was a patsy he could easily defeat in a runoff. Damn, DV8. Did you know former Dodger Steve Garvey was running for political office? Schiff platform Garvey in the primary, treating him as the most credible. Deviate said yes, they did. That's good. Thank you. Political sports correspondent Deviate. Treating him as the most credible opponent and sidestepping then Representative Katie Porter. She was outraged, but Schiff got the runoff and the result he wanted. Now some Bass supporters are testing out the same idea. In a social media post Sunday, Bass's campaign highlighted her support from Latino leaders while simultaneously drawing attention to a Pratt post attacking her in Spanish. Latinos con Bass is greater than AI Latinos, the Bass post read. The point, she is backed by Latinos. She is running against a fundamentally fake. Okay. But framing the race as herself against Pratt is a complicated proposition. It's cynical, and some Rahman supporters are sure to see it exactly as Porter did, a tactic rather than a serious exercise in democratic engagement. It's difficult as it depends on rallying substantial support for Pratt, who has very little actual backing and even less natural room for growth, and it's entirely contemptuous of Pratt himself, as it assumes he is no more of a threat to Bass than Garvey or Schiff. The last assumption is almost certainly correct. Pratt is a gadfly whose main animating force for running is that he lost his house in the Palisades fire, a reminder that we owe those who suffer our sympathy but not our votes. So a celebrity who lost his home in the fire has not even like recovered fully. That's crazy. Regular people must be suffering so bad. Pratt is a Republican in a city where that is a vanishing notion. 15.5% of city voters are registered for the GOP, and he's a conservative in a place that hasn't elected one as mayor for far longer than Pratt's been alive. In short, Pratt has roughly the same chance of being mayor that Steve Garvey had of becoming a United States senator, which is to say, none. Still, the idea of Bass signal boosting Pratt is enough to send concerns through her campaign. That's because highlighting Pratt is one thing, potentially effective. Because highlighting Pratt is one thing, potentially, I don't understand that sentence, whatever. Recent polling puts Rahman narrowly ahead of Pratt in the all-important race for second place, and thus as an entry into the runoff, but lots of undecided voters and Bass coming in at around 25%. Nothing is yet fixed in the race. In efforts to highlight Pratt's candidacy, move him up a few points, and Rahman down a few, Bass could get the runoff she wants, and that would seal the contest. After all, Schiff is now a U.S. senator. Okay, crazy. Crazy that's how the mayoral race in LA is also a freaking jungle primary, like how it is in the California governor's race. Oh, looks like a gross article. I'm not going to read that. Okay, it was just all gobbledygook written all over the place. Okay, last socialist I want to cover for the day is the guy who's running for lieutenant governor, and his name is Oliver Ma. Let's watch this post on Reddit that I found. Oh my god. Okay, let's just go to YouTube. Okay. Let's watch his little ad.
Fighting for families as an attorney was supposed to be my dream job. I'm Oliver Ma, a son of immigrants, an organizer, a civil rights lawyer. I've represented working families against their slumlords. I've marched for Palestine. I've sued Trump for tearing immigrant families apart, and won.
Amazing.
But I'm tired of swimming upstream. Every year, politicians and corporations raise our rents, tear apart our families, and send our money to fund genocide. Politics has become a game of stealing from the public pie. Corporate landlords, war criminals, prison companies, anyone but California families. And that's why I'm running for lieutenant governor. So every Californian can own their own home. So we nurture kids here instead of bombing kids abroad. So immigrant parents can sing their kids to sleep at night. We deserve a California that's affordable. We deserve a California for working families. We deserve a California led with courage.
Amen to that. We deserve a California led with courage, for sure. True. Okay, so he started his campaign a little while ago. I mean, like less. Oh, that's right. He was also on Hassan's stream.
In my experience, I think one of the biggest setbacks for public housing is this notion that Americans expect their housing prices to keep going up.
Mm-hmm.
This is a nest egg for older people.
Nope.
It's, I believe, 44% of Californians own their own homes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's 44% of the voter base that is infinitely more likely to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's one of the major drawbacks as far as like people not even being courageous enough
Hassan Park
to advance this agenda to even bring it up.
Yeah.
How do you feel about an argument that people might present about public housing such as that?
Yeah, I think, so when I was in law school, I spent 2 years representing tenants against their slumlords. And some of the stories from there are just heart-wrenching. I'll tell you one, which is, you know what asbestos is, right?
Yeah.
And at the
I love eating it. That's why I'm the way I am.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. So asbestos at the microscopic level, it's these little hooks that if you breathe in, they get stuck in your lungs. And so when people find asbestos in their housing units, this is free legal advice. When you find asbestos in your building, you should let your state Department of Health know about it. And they'll make sure it's removed safely so you don't end up breathing it in. I was suing a slumlord, and during the course of the lawsuit, we found about 100 feet of asbestos in the basement.
Wow.
And we tell the landlord, hey, there's all this asbestos. You have to be super careful with it. Like, this could be really bad for people's health. Yeah. And a few months later, we go back to that basement and everything was gone. All the asbestos had been ripped out by hand by his untrained workers. No. None of it done the right way. And that basement is also where that entire building does laundry. And so every single time people are in that basement doing laundry, the machines are revving up these microscopic little hooks into people's lungs. 40 people use that basement for laundry.
Jeez.
And so I think that is our current housing system, which is a system that treats human beings as raw meat for the ravenous hunger of capitalism. Where because it's cheaper to rip these asbestos out by hand, this landlord is going to do it and give a high risk of cancer to 40 people, 15 children. I don't think that's a system that any of us should be living in. And so we need housing justice. We need a housing system that regular people can't afford and not a system for corporate landlords. I mean, you mentioned that 44% or whatever of people in California are homeowners, but more and more homes are owned by corporate landlords.
Yeah.
Last quarter, a third of all homes in the country was purchased by investor landlords. I don't want to live in a world where all of us are living in that building in Boston, where our children have to breathe in asbestos, where we're all renting from these mega corporations, these billion-dollar private equity companies. I want to build a country, a California, where everyone can have access to cheap, good quality, affordable housing, like my grandma had.
Wow. That was great. Based. General Asbestos with rice. That's what the slumlord said. Crazy. Let's see. I want to see if he has any other interviews. Wow, he has like no coverage. That's crazy. I was even looking for like news articles. Oh no, did he do a cover of Poker Face? This can't be the same Oliver Ma, right? I don't think it is. No. It's a different different account. Oh no, this other Oliver Ma just does all the covers of Lady Gaga. Wow. Okay, sorry, we're getting so distracted. Dang, maybe we can try to invite him on the stream because he has no coverage.
Lock the gates. Are we doing this? We're doing this. Hello.
I mean, this is basically me, is it not? She has 4,000 subscribers. But she has 937 views. That's close to my level of views. Or I should say, I'm close to her.
Welcome. I'm figuring out mic placement and stuff. I have found, because Oliver is running for office and we want people to learn more about his platform, and I don't really need to be rambling about like, oh, my lease is ending soon. What if I did van life? Like, I think that could be funny to talk about, but maybe I'll do that on a later episode, where the guest is a comedian and not someone running for office. With no further ado, here's my conversation with Oliver Ma.
All right, let's hear it.
Hello, and welcome to the Mary Houlihan Show.
Wow, how does she have a whole set, bro?
Oliver Ma. Oh, yeah, you gotta hold the mic, Oliver.
Okay. This is fancy.
So, Oliver, you are running for Lieutenant Governor of California.
Yes.
Yes, Stevie, I plan to invite
I don't know
everyone.
what the Lieutenant Governor does.
Not a lot of people do.
So what do they do?
So the Lieutenant Governor does a few things. They are president of the California State Senate, where they can push through and co-sponsor legislation. They sit on the UC Board of Regents. And as we know,
damn.
the UCs have been pretty bad.
Yes, they have. What about Cal States?
And they also sit on the California Commission of Economic Development. So those are some of their functions, and we have a lot of plans for those functions.
Nice, cool. I found you on TikTok. You were coming up on my For You page multiple times, and I was like, this guy's cool.
This guy is cool, she said.
I notice you're one of the few, but growing number of people running for office or in office who are willing to be vocal about Palestine.
Yeah.
So tell me about that, because I saw in one of your videos you were talking about how running for office, so often you get the advice like, don't even talk about it. It's too divisive.
Absolutely. So when we get Trumpers who tell us, don't talk about Palestine.
Where can
it's
we
like,
get
okay,
a full
we get
set?
it. Like, you don't care. That's okay. But what really hurts is when progressives do the same thing, and they are genuinely doing it in a way that they're trying to help. They're saying, don't talk about it. It's too divisive. It's you'll lose donors. It's not a California issue. And I think all of those arguments are so false, because I'm a civil rights lawyer, and I worked on the immigration raids that were happening throughout California recently, and just seeing the way that Israeli technology has been used to round up our immigrant communities and to break apart families has really shown me the parallels between the two. Looking at the rhetoric, the colonization and the state enacting violence on people of color has shown me a lot of parallels. And then, of course, the state of California has billions of dollars invested in companies that profit from genocide and apartheid. And so it is absolutely a California issue. And the fact that there is a lot of money and power on the other side that is pressuring us to shut up is precisely why we need to talk about Palestine.
I think, like, so many people say it's divisive, and I really don't think it is. I feel like when people say that, it seems like they're out of touch to me. Like I work in comedy. I've had jobs in the media, and I notice a lot of people, like, in the media class, they think it's divisive. They're like, be careful. But when I talk to, like, hairdressers, food service workers, hospitality workers, bartenders,
Okay,
like,
here we go.
regular
I'm gonna
schmegular
send
people,
Oliver Ma
they're vocal about
a
Palestine, and they
message.
hate that their tax dollars are going to it. And I feel like there's, like, a disconnect between.
Sorry, Mary Hulan show. Hold on, I need to conversations. Okay, hey Oliver, looking for interviews of you, and I'm finding only a few. Come on my stream. I cover California news and politics, and would love to have a conversation with you. Exclamation point. AW invite. Perfect. Sent. Okay, let's get back to the interview.
Between regular people and people that are getting funded by these
Yeah,
places
exactly.
that don't want you to talk about it.
It's divisive between regular people and the powerful people who are getting paid by
Yes.
this lobby, right? And it's honestly the best investment probably in the history of investments, where APAC gets to invest, I think, 50 million to 100 million into our politics, invest us, and they're corrupting our politicians, which is it's a lot of money.
Oh, okay. The lady interviewing him, she's a
$20 billion back for the state of
director.
Israel. That's a rate of return
Yes.
of, I don't know, a big number.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who just, like, aren't educated about it, they just kind of think, like, well, I don't know, aren't they, like, an ally of ours? But it's like, we have other allies, and we're not sending tons of Congress people to go and, like, do tours of England or France or whatever.
Yeah, and we're not sending our Congress people. They are not spending all of this amount of money. And I feel like if those other countries spent that amount of money, let's say, people always ask, right, why don't you talk about the Sudan? Why don't you talk about these other humanitarian crises that are happening around the world, maybe other genocides?
There's so many
And we should talk
humanitarian
about those things,
crises.
but
That's why.
I think the vigor at which we're talking about Palestine is important, because Sudan is not spending $50 million bribing our politicians and getting billions of dollars back, right? China is not doing the same thing. And if Sudan or China did, then we should be equally vocal about it. Another way that we have been faced pushback about this issue is people saying, well, you're being unfair to Jews, you're being anti-Semitic. And it really is not about that for us. If any group were being eliminated in the way that the Palestinian people are, we owe it to that group to be equally vocal. If the Jews were under attack, the way that Palestinians are right now in Gaza, then we should be equally vocal about that.
Yeah, and this is another thing that I feel like what the
that.
media says is so different than the reality. I grew up in the New York metro area. It is the most Jewish place in the world, really. Like, most of my friends are Jewish, and they are all anti-Zionist. And some of them, like, maybe their parents or their grandparents are like, what are you, it's almost like a lot of, like, white people have the thing of, like, the dad or the grandpa loves Trump and the kids hate Trump. Like, I see that dynamic happening in a lot of, like, Reformed Jewish families. Like, the Gen Z and millennials hate that our tax dollars are going towards this, but maybe the parents or the grandparents, the boomer generation, they're like, shut up, don't talk about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We see it in our community here too. But yeah, there are so many vocal Jews who are fighting for this issue. I went to Harvard, and one of the things that people always are talking about now is, oh my God, it's so amazing that Harvard is standing up to the Trump administration and fighting back. But one thing that I think really ought to be said about this is when the encampments were happening at Harvard, a lot of the students took over that part of campus, and a lot of the student leaders were Jewish. And they stayed out there and fought for justice, and Harvard hated that. So they sent in the school authorities. They threatened them with expulsion, forced these students to leave. And as an alumni, I remember over the last 2 years, every single week we would get an email from the administration talking about how these students are being anti-Semitic, which is not true, right?
Right.
A lot of
They're
the students
Jewish,
are
and they're getting called anti-Semitic.
and they're
It's
getting
crazy.
called by the school. And so they had all of these emails saying there's anti-Semitism on campus. And now the Trump administration comes in. They're using all of those emails as evidence. See, you even admit there's so much anti-Semitism on campus. Now you got to hand over everything to us. Now you got to let us decide what you can teach. Now you got to let us decide who can come into these schools. So Harvard really brought all of that problem, all of these Trump administration threats onto themselves. And for that, they need to be called out.
Sure, yeah. I think right now there's so many people who they see things going wrong and they're like, should I quit my job and do something completely different? So I'm curious, you were a civil rights lawyer, but something compelled you to run for office. Can you speak about that?
Yeah.
Why did you feel like doing civil rights law wasn't enough? You had to try to go into office.
It's the same reason I have gray hairs now at the ripe age of 28.
Oh my God, you're so young.
I am. And so I was very happy at the ACLU. It was my dream job. My family and I immigrated to the U.S. when I was 7, and I grew up advocating for my parents, and I went to law school to keep on advocating for my community. And so I loved working at the ACLU. Just incredible people, incredible work. Then in January, these immigration raids began, and we filed our lawsuits. In April, we won, protecting the entire Central Valley from illegal immigration raids. And in July, we won a similar victory in Southern California, protecting Southern California from these illegal raids. But what was really shocking to me, maybe it shouldn't have been shocking, was that the Trump administration did not care. For them, a order from a federal judge telling them to stop was just a sheet of paper. And they kept the raids going, and they kept on tearing families apart. And it just really showed me that a lot of the normal guardrails of our democracy are no longer there. And the courts cannot be relied on to protect our people. And at the same time, I'm a leader in my county's rapid response network, which, do you know anything about?
No.
Okay, they are awesome. So these are groups of volunteers that are protecting their communities. And so what I do is I train some of our rapid responders. These are people who will go when there's a raid happening. They will go into the communities where the danger is.
Okay, that's cool.
Warn people that there's a raid happening to stay inside. Make sure people know their rights. Deliver food to families who've been afraid to go work and go outside. And all of these things to protect their people.
That's noble work right there.
These are all things that volunteers have had to step up and do because the state of California is not doing them. And one of the big reasons I'm running is because I see the legal system as very imperfect for protecting our people, and the state of California can be doing so much more to protect immigrant families.
So what's a legislation that you would like to pass that could, reduce or eliminate ICE raids?
A big part of why these raids are happening is very sinister. So, for example, I go into these detention centers about pretty much every month to meet with the people inside. And there's all sorts of people in there, right? There's farm workers, there's day laborers, there's people who've been here for 20 years who have multiple U.S. citizen kids. One person that I'm very close with is one of our witnesses for a case. He's lived in the U.S. for 20 years, always worked very diligently, paid his taxes, married a U.S. citizen, has 4 young U.S. citizen kids.
And they're still trying to deport him.
Recently. And the way that these people in these detention centers keep in touch with their kids is they make phone calls. And these phone calls, they get charged $5 per phone call.
No way.
And the way they make money in these detention centers is they work. And for a full day of work, they get paid $1. And so the people in there, right, the fathers who want to talk to their kids, they work a full week to make 1 phone call with their kids.
I mean, that's slavery. I don't know if you're allowed to say that.
It absolutely is.
I'm a regular person. I can say whatever I want. That's slavery.
Yeah. And the Constitution specifically says we're going to abolish slavery except for in prisons.
Right.
All of these detention centers are run by private for-profit prison companies. And they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars for every single person who's in there. Every single person.
Crazy.
That's why these raids are happening. That's why they're not just going after criminals or people with criminal convictions. They're just finding anybody with brown skin.
Right.
Because they're looking for bodies.
Wouldn't it be extra sinister if like the globalists were like, oh, we need to enslave the most hardworking class of people. That's the Mexicans. Round them up. No, that would be crazy. That's crazy. That of course, the most hardest working people who were working for themselves or, working, doing the American dream, were then picked up and then forced to work for $1 per day, and a phone call cost $5. No way. The Dodger owner is part of private prison stuff, I believe. No, I believe it. But how many Latinos love the Dodgers, bro? Okay. Mark Walter is the chairman and controlling owner of the Dodgers. Let's see. Oh, he has a lot of sports under his belt, doesn't he? Mark Richard Walters, American businessman, knows for professional sport. He's the owner and chairman of the Dodgers, the NBA Lakers, and the LA Sparks, the motorsports organization Andretti. Oh, he owns part of Andretti Racing. Damn. Also owns part of the professional women's hockey league. What the? And a holding company that controls the Premier League and Chelsea. That's crazy. This man is like a super sports owner. What? He grew up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. His father, Ed, worked at a local concrete block manufacturing plant. He graduated from Cedar Rapids Jefferson High School in 1978. Oh my God. He went to Northwestern University, of course, in Chicago, School of Law. And then what did he help fund? Guggenheim Partners, a global investment and advisory financial service firms in New York. Oh, yeah. Yeah, this Guggenheim, sorry. I said Guggenheim. Deviate said, oh, yeah, too much money. Tax him, please. Yeah, I mean, is he one of the billionaires that's going to leave when California does the billionaire tax? Walter has a personal stake in Beyond Meat. There you go. This is why I don't support vegans. Wow. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Sports investments. Gee, he even invest in squash? I thought squash was like a old people game that no one played anymore. I won't say. Walter is married to Kimbra Walter, an attorney. She also attended Northwestern. Oh my God. Oh, they have a daughter and live in the Lincoln Park neighborhood of Chicago. So they don't even live in California. Walter was an avid fan of the Chicago Cubs. Disgusting. Oh, in 2020, 538 reported that he makes bipartisan contributions. There you go. He's not left or right. 538 said he's bipartisan. Jeez. Okay. Oh, of course his wife is a trustee of the Lincoln Park Zoo. Yeah, Damn. Okay. At least nothing on his Wikipedia page about owning prison stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, one of the what's the key rule in financial investment? Diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, especially if it's sports, Got to get prisons in there too. Jeez.
To put into these prisons so they can keep on stealing from taxpayers.
That's crazy.
That's why these raids are happening, and what California needs to do is to shut these for-profit detention centers down. Take away that profit motive, take away that bad incentive, and protect our families, because families belong together. Immigrant parents belong with their kids, not in these for-profit prisons.
I'm going to make a big pivot.
Yes.
Housing is so expensive. What are you going to do?
What are these questions,
Too
bro?
expensive.
Okay,
So
we're gonna skip
I
forward
worked
on
for
his
2 years
housing
in
thing
eviction.
since we already know about that.
I would have gotten it fixed right in the beginning when it was easy to fix instead of wait and roll the dice on my own body.
So perhaps California could have universal health care, but then other
That's
states
what I would love.
could still do for-profit model if that's what those states are doing.
And I think we'll very quickly show that
TVA
California's
said
system is
it's
better.
probably
In many ways.
not an obvious thing that he has
My
part
partner,
ownership of these
she is
prisons,
from
but
Alaska,
hey, I
and
could
she
be
works,
completely wrong.
in
No, I mean,
Alaska,
I believe it.
in
Like,
healthcare.
why
And
wouldn't
I'm always
you?
dying to try to
You
pull
know,
her to
half the
move to
time, or
California.
I would say majority of the time,
And
it's not even these
one
people
argument I
making
make
their
often
own
is
decisions
if
about their own
universal
money.
healthcare can be
They
done
hire
anywhere, it would be
people to
California,
make these
because
decisions
we
for
not only
them
have the wealth, but
because
also
they
the
want to
political
make
will.
the most money
And so
possible.
that's something that I hope to be a part of in office.
Nice. The entertainment industry sucks right now.
Yeah.
Got any plans for that?
The entertainment industry. I actually don't watch
If
a lot of
Oliver
TV or
Ma
entertainment.
responds,
Well,
I will
guess,
have so
like,
many
I
better
don't know all the
questions for
stats,
him.
but anecdotally, a lot of people are out of work for years on end who used to be staff writers, head writers, like people who have won Oscars for their
Yeah.
work have been out of work for years. And, a lot of people eventually, they just have to move to wherever they came from. And
Wow.
it's kind of hard to tell, like, is California ever going to come back as a showbiz town in the way that it was, or is it just going to be dispersed to other states and other countries? Like, a lot of film and TV shows now, like, they're written here and then they film in like Eastern Europe. Like, they'll film in places where they can pay people a lot less, and also they don't have the worker protections that we have here because we have such good unions in showbiz. And I think that's why TV executives and film executives are punishing them for being in unions and going on strike, in my opinion. Yeah.
No, I think that's right. Do you think AI has a part to play in that as well?
Perhaps. I feel like I only really see AI used in like special effects, motion graphics to make jobs faster. And
okay, skipping.
Causes our politicians to serve the interests of these corporations and these special interests rather than regular people. And that's why our campaign is only taking donations from regular people. And I think that's the right way to do politics because it allows us to speak with honesty and with authenticity and with power on the issues that matter. And it served us well. We've raised $300,000. Every single cent we've raised comes from regular people. And so, that allows us to fight for the right things and do the actual things that needs to change about California.
Right. And you can say what you actually feel. You don't have to be like, well, I don't want to offend this group or that. Yeah, something that really annoys me with like the Democratic Party.
Said, you're telling me Toy Story was made in Slovenia? Yes, with the Melania robots. Wait, I think Melania's from Slovenia. It's not Slovakia. I think she's from Slovenia. But yeah, oh my God, could you imagine? That's crazy.
Yeah, and like Democratic strategists, like they seem very eager to try to get these moderate suburbanites to vote for them. They're not going to vote for them. Some of those people will vote for Democrats. A lot of these people are people who hold their nose and vote for Republicans because they don't want higher taxes. And I think when Democrats take money from all these donors, and like you said, they might say that they love immigrants, but they're taking money from detention centers.
Yeah.
There's so many people who don't vote at all because they just say, look at these hypocrites. And people don't want to vote for hypocrites. Yeah. And so I wish they would stop trying to get these suburban moderates and get these people who usually stay home, these people who say, oh, I hate both parties. Oh, they're all full of crap. So how are you going to try to reach people like that? Like people who usually don't vote, people who say that they hate both parties, people who aren't, into politics. Like I know later today you're going to a DSA meeting.
Yeah.
How do you reach people who aren't in DSA, who never vote, those kinds of people?
Yeah.
And I think
the pocket
those of us in politics always overestimate how much people think and care about politics.
Yes.
Don't care and don't want to think about
Most people don't care. And again, I feel like that's the problem with the media because
we know this because we read political research that said people are rationally ignorant about their voting, and that's okay.
I do see now why there is so much corruption in our politics, because this drive to fundraise when you're running for office is never ending. It is this pressure that is always on top of you. Last week, we drove 4 hours to a fundraiser hosted by a guy I've never met in person. And I was just thinking like, and we'll probably raise a few $1,000s from that fundraiser. And I was just thinking, like, when I was an attorney, if some random dude came and said, "I'll pay you money to drive 4 hours to come and do something,"
What's the catch?
I would not do it. I would not do it. But now that I'm running for office, it's amazing how cheap my time has become.
Mhm.
If I think someone has the prospect of giving me a few $100s, I will call them. I will wine and dine them. I will even sometimes feel this huge pressure to say whatever they want me to say, just so that I get that check from them. And it's not even that much money. So I see why so many people enter
political
into politics
campaigns
with good
need
aspirations,
funding.
with actual wanting to bring justice to their communities, and they get corrupted by the system.
I think it's really important that we get money out of politics. I think every single candidate should just be running from like donations from regular people. I don't think there should be corporations giving money to candidates at all. What are things that once you're in office you can do? Once you, Oliver Ma, are in office, what can you do to, try to get Citizens United overturned, or if not that,
he can't do anything as lieutenant governor.
Ways to get money out of politics.
So I think Seattle is doing something really interesting where they give these tickets to citizens, and these tickets are worth like 25. I don't remember how much money. I think it's like $25, right? And citizens can give these tickets to the candidate of their choosing, and the state election board will then give that amount of money to the candidate. And so that's a way that candidates who actually
DVA,
reach out to regular people and regular voters and speak to them and what they need can actually fundraise. I think that's a good model. Obviously, well, actually, I would say regular people can contribute a ton of money into our politics, right? You see that with the Bernie campaign, where they're not taking money from these fossil fuel companies, from these for-profit prisons, but they were a monster at fundraising. So I think it is possible to fight back.
Oh my God, sorry. I need to share some Bernie stuff real quick. Ugh, because I love him and I miss him.
If speaking to the needs and the pain of a long-neglected working class is polarizing, I think you got the wrong word. What we are trying finally to do is to give a voice to people who, after 45 years of work, are not making a nickel more than they did 45 years ago. We are giving a voice to people who are saying we are sick and tired of billionaires like Mr. Bloomberg seeing huge expansions of their wealth while 500,000 people sleep out on the street tonight. And that's so what we are saying, Pete, is maybe it's a time for the working class of this country to have a little bit of power in Washington rather than your billionaire campaign contributors.
All right, look.
Oh damn, that's not what I wanted, but oh no, we can't. Nope. Why is it not stopping? Damn. Okay, hold on. I want it. Oh wait, maybe this is it.
Unlike some of the folks up here, I don't have 40 billionaires, Pete, contributing to my campaign.
Yup, Pete, did you hear that? Pete had 40 billionaires contributing to his campaign, and Bernie said, I have none. Okay, here we go.
$27.
I think it's the best $27 you could spend.
It's the average donation given to Bernie Sanders.
$27.
To make college tuition free.
For better care of our veterans.
For women's rights.
For health care for all.
To make Wall Street corporations pay their fair share.
To keep us out of unnecessary wars.
To ensure a living wage.
To get big money out of politics.
For the poor.
For the marginalized.
For the rich.
For all of us.
Get 27 to transform America.
Yeah, so there you go. This was, oh my God, it was the 2016 election or primary, and the average donation amount, Bernie Sanders had the most per person donations, and the average donation was $27. And I think like when you could compare that to other candidates, like it goes to show that there was more people donating on the lower end, like maybe more individual donations of $1 or $5, right? But and in comparison to the average donation amount of other candidates, like I think for Harris, I don't know, I don't think Kamala Harris ran in 2016, but for here we go.
Zone record from 20. All right, so yesterday I did a video on the fourth quarter money race in the 2020 Democratic primary, And it was essentially the estimates. So there were no final numbers out yet, but there were estimates of what each of the major campaigns were going to raise for the fourth quarter. Well, now we have the number from the Bernie Sanders campaign, and they've not only hit their goal, they've smashed previous records, including Bernie's own record from 2015. So check this out. Dear friends, today I'm very proud to share with you some extraordinary news. Our campaign has received more than 5 million individual contributions. That is more contributions than any campaign has received at this point in a presidential election in the history of our country.
Crazy.
So if you have been watching my videos, there's multiple videos I have of Bernie Sanders breaking his own record. Because he's been breaking his own records.
I do not know who
throughout this
Rational
entire
National
campaign.
is.
These records that he set back in 2015, he was breaking Barack Obama's 2008 records. So to give you the breakdown here, in the first quarter, Bernie Sanders raised 18.2 million. The second quarter, 18 million. The third quarter, 25.3 million. In the fourth quarter, the estimate is 28.5 million, which means roughly Bernie Sanders has raised $90 million for all of 2019. Now, to give you some context for this, here's reporting from CNN back in 2015 about what Sanders raised back in that year. Sanders' haul, which brings his 2015 total to 73 million, was almost exclusively buoyed by his prodigious online fundraising operation. Aides told CNN that Sanders received over 2.5 million donations in 2015 from 1 million different individuals. So here's the comparison. Back in 2015, when Bernie Sanders broke Obama's record, Bernie raised 73 million in 2015 compared to in 2019, Bernie raised 90 million. In 2015, it was from 2.5 million donations. In 2019, it's 5 million donations, doubling it. And in 2015, it was from 1 million individual donors. And this year, they haven't released the exact number, but it's roughly going to be, I think, around 1.6 million individual donors. So he smashed his own record from 2015 this year, or I should say last year. And like for anybody in the press, because you saw it early on in the campaign, less so now because they're a little more aware of how strong his campaign is. But early in 2019, the press at large was saying, oh, Bernie Sanders is not going to be able to get the same kind of support that he got back in 2016, because back in 2016, he was mostly a candidate to foil Hillary Clinton. And that's why people supported Bernie Sanders.
No,
well,
it wasn't.
What's the excuse now? You have a giant, or at least had a giant field of Democratic candidates, and Bernie Sanders is raising even more money now from even more people than he did back in 2015 when it was a two-person race. This is the campaign that is going to last. Now, more on this from Common Dreams. Quote, against Trump, I believe we will have 50 million individual contributions at least, Sanders wrote. And at $27 apiece, that would be more than $1 billion. It's absolutely obscene and outrageous that an election would cost that much money. But our campaign has proven we will be able to raise more than enough money to win. The average donation to the Sanders campaign has been $18 so far. If that average continued into the fourth quarter of 2019, the New York Times reporter Shane Goldmacher estimated the Sanders campaign brought in $28.5 million in the last 3 months of the year.
Crazy.
So this campaign has it. I mean, this is the grassroots support that you need in order to not even just win the Democratic nomination, but to defeat Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton in 2016, she lost to Trump because she did not bring out enough of the base. She didn't bring out young people, didn't bring out independents, didn't bring out typical non-voters. So this idea that you need a moderate to defeat Trump is just completely backwards. Hillary Clinton was the moderate and she lost. Her strategy was to reach out to conservative voters and try to win that way. Didn't work out because conservatives are loyal Republican voters. They are going to come out and vote for Trump regardless. For a Democrat to win, you have to bring out people that don't normally vote. Young people, independents, typical non-voters. This is the Bernie Sanders base. This is the movement. So you put someone that is a lifelong independent in Bernie Sanders on the ticket against Donald Trump. Bernie Sanders, a lifelong record, a 40-year record of fighting for people, of fighting for many of the same issues he's fighting for now, of showing this consistency and this fight and a campaign that is purely based on individual donations. No money from private fundraisers, no money from PACs, super PACs, none of that. No corporate money. All money raised from individuals, from real people. You have this campaign on the ballot against Donald Trump. Let's hope this is the future that we see for the end of this year.
Wow. Crazy. So yeah, donations can be powerful. We just have to, give it a chance and not have it be so unequally tipped in the favor of corporations. He has to read it in Bernie's voice. I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids. I wish I could do a good Bernie voice, but I can't. All right, let's finish this out.
And what I also say is there are ways to win without selling out and taking blood money. We see that with Zoran's campaign in New York City. And with our campaign, what we've noticed is when we speak with honesty, we can speak with power. And when we speak with power, then our message reaches a lot of people. And we don't need to spend millions of dollars on advertising. Right now on TikTok and Instagram, we get about 1 million views a week. And that's all free. We don't have to spend a single penny to get our message out there. And so my challenge to all the people running for office is when you are able to speak honestly and when you don't take money and say the things that these special interests and corporations want you to say, you might actually go a lot further and actually reach a lot more people. And it's the people at the end of the day who vote and who will get you into office.
I think social media is like so awesome
have a good
for
one,
freedom of
D4VD.
speech and like you said, like getting
Thank you
a good
for
message
joining
out
me.
for free.
Happy 420
But
again.
personally, I get really worried about like the
Take
people
care.
that own these companies. And like recently, TikTok was sold for parts. Now it's mostly owned by Americans. And Netanyahu did a whole press conference saying he's so excited that now we have control of TikTok. Like he said this. This isn't a conspiracy theory. He literally said this. Like we need to win the war on information, and that's why we need our American friends to own TikTok. Is there anything that you would like to do or have plans to do in regards to these companies that own social media and are able to direct the conversation and really, when you think about it, make propaganda? Not everybody wants to use that word, but if a corporation owns a social media company and they're inserting their biases into it, to me, that's propaganda.
Absolutely. And we see it already. Every single video I make where I talk about Palestine gets flagged for like violence and gore or whatever. And then you can appeal that, and most of the time that appeal is overthrown, but by that time the algorithm isn't going to show it to anyone.
Yes.
There was one video I made a few weeks ago where I did a hashtag Palestine, posted it for a day, got maybe 4,000 views. Next day, re-uploaded the same video, deleted that hashtag, and now it's at 400,000.
Exactly.
Wow.
And so it is crazy the amount of power these social media companies and tycoons and oligarchs have over our society. And I don't think any entity who's unelected should have that amount of power over our society. So there needs to be accountability and there needs to be oversight. California's actually doing a decent job. We just passed a pretty big AI/social media law, and I think we need to continue doing that.
So Bernie and AOC, they did all of these rallies against oligarchy. I think the average person doesn't know what oligarchy is. Can you explain what oligarchy is, what an oligarch is, and who some of them may be?
Yeah, I don't like using the word because
it sounds too fancy.
Yeah, people don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't think we should be using words from other languages, which I think oligarch is Greek, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, I would agree. Like you should communicate things in a way that's easy to understand. And their point that we need to fight oligarchy is true, but if we need to then go, by the way, oligarchy means, then that's adding more
I thought
steps.
you were gonna, what does it mean?
Oligarchy, what is it? It's the rich business
the
owners,
rule of the
corporatists,
rich.
having influence in politics, correct?
Main influence.
Yes.
Like I think in China, like there's people who are rich business owners, but they're not allowed to have influence in politics.
Yes, Jack Ma, who is like the Chinese, I guess Jeff Bezos.
Okay.
I think he like did something really small where like he like lightly critiqued the Communist Party, disappeared for 2 years.
Oh my god.
I don't think we should do that.
No, but a lot of people would like it.
Yeah, I think Hassan liked it. That Jack Ma
But
disappeared.
I understand the hate. towards
Sure,
these
yes.
people, right? Yeah, I mean, they're oligarchs. I think we can call them pigs. I think
Sure.
we could call them, they're corrupting our politics.
Yeah.
But they're right. Bernie and AOC are right, which is these people have way too much power in our society, and they're using it to their own benefits. They're using it to steal resources from the rest of us and making life harder and harder for regular people.
Yeah.
And like, sorry to go there, but like, Luigi Mangione killed a
No.
CEO, and people weren't that bummed about it. And I'm not saying it's good
No,
or bad,
people
but
were
like,
celebrating
more stuff
it.
like that is gonna happen if
And it
we don't
has.
crack
The
down on
warehouses.
corporate entities making people's lives hell.
Yeah, exactly. There's so much resentment, and one thing that I think we do need to do is point those resentments away from immigrants. First of all,
Yeah.
I think we also need to point that resentment away from individual people, because I think for the left to win, we need to treat people with love and dignity and respect, even really awful people. I'm not a fan of Charlie Kirk, but I don't think what happened to him was
Damn,
right.
this was
And,
before
I think
Charlie.
he's part of a very
Oh,
bad
never
system
mind, this
that needs to be
happened
changed, a
already.
very bad system that twists people and corrupts people and incentivizes people to do evil. And
Yeah.
what our campaign is doing is fighting to change that system.
I think you're totally right. Like, we need to change systems. It's not just about like individuals. And this is like another thing that annoys me about a lot of Democrats and liberals is that they hate Trump. Let's get rid of Trump. All the things that are wrong with the society aren't going to magically go away if Trump goes away. Like, all of the systems are going
Yeah.
to still be in place. We're still going to be funding wars in the Middle East. We're still going to have a for-profit prison system. It's not like Trump dying of old age will stop that. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, Obama deported more people. I feel like he deported more people than during the first Trump administration, year on year. The second Trump administration might be a bit different. Obama did a ton of war criminal things in the Middle East and in other countries outside of the Middle East. So it's this broader system that needs to be changed. It is absolutely not just Trump. And I also think we cannot do this Republican tactic of playing into people's fears,
Yeah.
because And that's, I think, what Kamala and the Democrats tried to do in
They
2024,
did.
which is to appeal to people's fears. Oh, Trump,
He's going to be a
Trump this, Trump
fascist.
that.
He's going to be a fascist.
They didn't
ruin
say
everything.
anything about healthcare. They didn't say anything about housing. Here and there they did, but there wasn't a sweeping message about here's how we'll make your lives better. And that's why people stay home.
Right. People are tired. When something is always giving them anxiety and making them feel disgusted, they tune it out. And so people stay home. And also, this message of fear is never one that we're going to win, because it is the people of color and the people who look different in this country who will always be the boogeyman in American society, has always been and will always be. And so when Democrats are playing into this message of fear, ultimately it's going to fall back on the shoulders of the people who have always been hurt in this country. We can't win this battle of fear. And so what we need to do is to propose something that's inspirational, that appeals to people's hope and shows people what a better society looks like, a society of justice and fairness where everyone can afford housing and healthcare and education.
Yeah,
You
give
talked about
something.
Obama and some of his
We need to give people the American dream back, because otherwise we're just not going to dream for anything. We're just going to live nihilist lives.
hypocrisies. But he is a terrific politician because he's such a charming guy. He's such a charming guy. My friend Dina Hashem, she's a comedian. She has this joke about how Republicans are all con artists, but Democrats are con artistes.
Damn.
Like, they're pushing the same agendas, but they look nicer and
that's true.
more charismatic. What are you going to do to be more charismatic?
I thought you were just going to leave it there, do your little crush on Obama, and then just switch to a different
No, I was going to tease you and also encourage you to, charm it up.
Okay.
Get a little makeover.
Yeah, I do, huh?
No, not really.
I think for charisma,
Well, Bernie's charismatic.
He is.
Yeah.
I think so much of charisma is just authenticity. And
Correct,
We see when people are
Authenticity.
speaking honestly. I think it's also
Authenticity.
compassion, is very charismatic. That's so for us. We're not really thinking about what our posters are telling us, what our consultants are telling us. We're just fighting for the things that we believe in, and some people do find that charismatic, although you might not.
I find it charismatic. Well, that's awesome. I'm so excited that you're running for office.
Okay. Thank you, Mary Holohan. That was a great interview. Hopefully Oliver Ma responds back to my DM. But let's leave it here for today. And come back at it later this week. All right. Let's play some rally outro music. Everyone has a fantastic rest of your 420. We got counted down an hour and a half to go until legitimate 420. So yeah, have a good one, everyone. Thank you for joining me. My name is Angelina Tucci. It's been a great day. Be sure to hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to the channel for more videos and for when I go live. Thank you, Bashonen in a Box, for joining us. Have a great one. Take care, everyone. Peace.